What's the word? It's your boy Rashad back, back at it again with another episode of Things of That Nature, episode 128. Got to get to it, man. Today is Tuesday, July 15th, and we in here. Hey, this in the air for y'all niggas showing up. 10, Hulan, CJ, Demented, Kev, Doko. Hey, we got to get to it. Lot of shit on the timeline, man. Listen, yesterday we had to go into overtime. Had to go into overtime. Um, Crazy shit that was going on. I never seen nothing like it, actually. I was confused, and we just hopped on the space to kind of figure it out. Not gonna hold you. I think we unpacked it well. Pause. Cause, for extenuating circumstances. But the the Patreon is in the jumbo. The overtime episode is in the jumbo, man. If y'all want to listen back, subscribe. Free tier, $5 tier, whatever tier you decide to subscribe. I definitely would appreciate it, man. Repost the space. Repost the space. Repost the space. Let's get some folks in here. Have some good conversation like we usually do over here at Things of That Nature, man. Another day. Another day on the right side of the dirt. I feel good. I feel real good. I slept really well. Slept really well. Woke up. Seen some other things on the timeline, but I'm not going to address those. But shout out to Kev for the quote tweet that I seen this morning. I'm picking up what you putting down, Kev. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. At least not today on Tuesday. I might jump probably Thursday or Friday, depending on how I feel. But Tuesday, I ain't gonna jump. But I definitely seen it. If that's the case, it's really weird, man. But this is Twitter, and niggas is weird. Like we found out last night. Hey, listen, I just want y'all to know that if you have a burner page or a different page, the smart thing to do is change your handle completely. Don't just add one letter. Don't just add, an underscore. Don't do none of that shit. Just change it completely so that your double life could be in secret. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, fists in the air, man. Fists in the air. I appreciate y'all every single time y'all show up. Gots to get to it, man. Today I wanted to talk about friends. Friends and how many of us have them. Matter of fact, it was a lot of things on the timeline. Oh, no, wait. Y'all know I got my bookmarks. Let me go scroll the bookmarks real quick. Let me scroll the bookmark. Yeah, I wanted to talk about y'all folks' opinion. I seen Neon on Breakfast Club. Kind of blew my mind. Streamers are taking over the fucking world. They're taking over the world, and they are slowly but surely taking over black culture. We gotta wake it up. We gotta wake it up from Kai Cenat being voted the number one hip hop streamer to Neon on Breakfast Club. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I also seen a post, very interesting post. It said if a man pays child support and later finds out that the child isn't his, should the mother pay him back? Hey, that is a quality question. Quality. Come on, man. Oh, look at Professional. Girl, where you been at? It's in the air for Professional. Girl, you've been missing. There's a lot of shit that's been going on over here. Lot of shit. Freakazoid's been exposed. lot of topics. Hey, man. Gots to get to it, though. Repost the space. Let's get some folks in this motherfucker. What else in the bookmarks? What else? Joy Taylor. Out of a job. That butter pecan skin. Gots to go find another job. I think that a lot of people are saying that she might go sit up there with Joe. I enjoyed her up there with Joe. They played it real nice though. I'm not gonna lie. They played it real nice. Joey seems like somebody who don't take no shit. So we will see. I hope she lands on her feet, not her back like the industry says. But listen, that's neither here nor there. What else is in the bookmarks? Um, let's get to it. What we got? Oh, I did want to talk about that guy that got he was engaged. His woman was having a child, and then she said he got exposed for having sex with 25 women in a month. Is that true? Was it a month? I have no idea, but that was kind of crazy. Listen, y'all niggas got to turn y'all horny down. I'm glad they putting restrictions on these porn sites, because a lot of niggas out here too horny, as we seen last night. Um, a lot of niggas out here too horny, man. You got to turn the horny down just a notch. 25 women, unreal, unreal. I don't even know how you find the time. That's a lot of fucking, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's a lot. I'm an old nigga, but even in my prime, 25 is a lot. Then to go home and still have to satisfy a woman. She is pregnant. God bless her. Fist in the air for that young woman. This shit is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's a lot of topics going up, man. Drake got, what did I miss? Is number 2 on the charts. Very, very quality. Very quality. Cannot sneeze at being number 2 on the Billboard 100. Not too many people reach that space. He did put out a tweet yesterday. Not a tweet, but a Instagram story, to congratulating himself. And working towards the number 1 spot. I think that I expected it to go number 1, but hey, number 2 is not bad. We still got another week to go. Yeah, man, a lot of shit going on. Lots of shit going on, man. Unreal. Let me put this, but I wanted to talk about Friends. I think we've had the Friends conversation a couple times around here. Let me put this shit in the chat. Let me put it in the chat. I was perusing, I'm a timeline peruser. I was perusing the timeline. I think I got this from Instagram though. I don't necessarily want to talk about the people that is involved, but the concept or the idea of what it meant as far as what the young woman said. Um, so I don't know if you know, Gloss Up and Glorilla. They were friends before they both got on, in the industry. You don't really see them together as much. There was an interview that was put out recently in where Gloss Up said that the reason that they're not friends is Glow don't necessarily understand her. Glow wants her to achieve more, work harder, be more intentional with her career, and she is not in that space. I think I said that a couple times on here, and where the friendships that I have, I would prefer that we are moving in the same direction, kind of same speed, having somebody who you can talk to or understand what you're doing, understand your drive, your motivation. I think that is very important in friendship, and people who are not there is very difficult to keep up with them. And so that's just my outlook on it. So when I seen, her perspective of her being on the other side, quote unquote, of not being as inspired or as intentional, in wanting to get to a place in where, a Glorilla is at. I really resonated with that. There was a lot of people in the comments. Y'all know how Shade Room gets. It's a lot of folks in the comments that it was kind of 50-50 on where they understood what Glorilla was doing, and then they didn't. They kind of made it seem like, if that's really your friend, then it doesn't matter. I wanted to get y'all opinion on that shit, man, because I'm definitely one of those ones, and where we got to be moving in the same direction. Doctors hang around doctors. NBA players hang around NBA players, man. We gotta hang around like-minded folk. And that's also why, if, all your friends is hoes, I look at you sideways too. But listen, that's a conversation for another day. I think that, that was very interesting. That was very interesting. The older that I got, the more that I put away, I guess, quote unquote, young nigga shit, focused on ownership, home ownership, career, education, have kids, raising kids, family, that type of growth. You can't be having that type of mindset and then have a nigga on the team that want to be in the club every day, want to fuck on the hoes, out in the street. Like, I think we like to think that we can do it. We like to think that we can, disassociate, have one foot in, one foot out in those instances. I don't believe you can. I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe you can. I think eventually shit catch up, man. Eventually shit catch up, something falls through the cracks, and then that's your ass. And it falls through the cracks at the most inopportune time. I'm just saying, in my life. I can only speak for my life, but when shit fuck up, it fuck up at the worst time. And I think when you continually put yourself in positions with people and where they're not on the same page, on the same level as you, I think eventually something happens, man. It might not be the worst thing in history, but eventually it does. I got a homeboy, uh he does music. We both did music for a while. I think I said it on here. I not really. We cool, but I know how to play it, right? Because I know that he's one of those ones that be out in the street. There's never a time where I'm ever going to get in his car and go somewhere. But he's really cool. I know that he comes from a good place. He comes from a wholesome place. But I also know that I am not in the same space as him. I don't have the same responsibility as him, or he doesn't have the same responsibility as me. And so I can't act or have the same friendship that we had when I was 24, 25 years old. So I just wanted to understand or get a feel of how y'all felt about that dynamic of friendship as you getting older, growth, and different things. Jonay, what's the word? How you feeling?
I'm cool, Jad. How are you?
Another day on this right side of the dirt.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I don't know, French, I think it would matter why you were friends with them in the first place. Um, because there's a lot of like circumstantial friends, and when you change your circumstance, are you still friends with them is, I guess, the larger conversation. Cause I have friends that I've known since I was like 6 that I'm still friends with. And there's not going to be a change in that friendship, and we both have evolved and gone to different spaces and places, but you know what I mean? That's not my, she was never my, oh, we're going out. This is like a childhood friend. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think like with the whole, you were saying the Glorilla gloss up, whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
glowing
Glow.
gloss up.
I think to me, the reason why that to me might have presented a problem is with friendships, I would be honest, you gotta check the motives, because with gloss up, do you think there's like some, I'm gonna be honest, could there have been on Glorilla's side some, you here to be my little side, you know what I mean? Like my little 1-2 on the side. And now that you want to do your own thing, you're no longer what I wanted you to be. Side, you get what I'm saying? A sidekick. Some
Uh,
people have those like main character, personalities where if the friend that was supposed to be their sidekick finds their own identity, do they feel like, okay, now our friendship no longer has cause? You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or do
I
you think
get
it was
that.
gloss up feeling like, okay, I no longer need glow?
Yeah, I think that from just what the first thing that you said would have a lot more credence if Glow actually like said that or actually moved like that. I think because Gloss Up spoke about it from her perspective, and she spoke from the perspective of basically, I'm a mom and I ain't really trying to, go hard like that right now. I have different responsibilities. And so her voicing that to me seemed like an acknowledgement that, and so I understand that because I see that, in different friendships, and where I be, trying to do something, and then you would hope that your friend would be as motivated and want to get to that next level. and then they don't. And so it's difficult because it's not difficult from a standpoint of just like, I don't fuck with you, but it's like, I'm trying to get to a space in my life, and I was hoping that you would be there too and get to it. And if so, there are certain things that we have to do. A lot of folks be talking about grind. A lot of folks be talking about hustle and, I'm trying to get to it, and they be lying. Like, a lot of motherfuckers is just liars and they don't want to work. And so when you really come across somebody who really working, then you hear a lot of different excuses on why it can't happen or it won't happen or it's impossible or, I got something else to do. And it's just like, I seen a video on here the other day. I'm gonna put that video in there. But it was like, if you want something, then you will do it. If you don't really want it, then anything will knock you off your pivot. And so that's kind of like what I
Right.
heard from her. But there were people who like understood what she was saying. And so I was kind of confused. I was confused as a sign artist, as somebody who, especially, I dreamed of being in a space of being signed and having national notoriety and recognition and being able to put out songs and tour, and like that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It,
But
it,
where I feel like, and now I just wanted to look at this video one more time. That lady's full of shit. Cause she was just on baddies.
yeah, that's another thing.
So it's
That's another
like
thing.
you saying Glow don't understand you. She's not a mom. I don't believe it, because you doing things, to me, it just feels like, did you expect, like, the expectation of what Glow should have did for you? Is that a part of this? Like, what is she not saying? Because what I just saw her say was like, oh, Glow don't understand. She says she don't really get me. And it's like, well, what you mean? Saying we cool, we this, we that, but she don't understand me, and I'm a mom, she's not a mother. It kind of, I don't know, it kind of is confusing me a little bit, because she was just on baddies.
So let me ask you a question. Have you came across this in your personal friendships, and where you were hungry to, do something
Uh-huh.
in life, get something going, or vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
and you and your longtime friend just wasn't on the same page no more? And so y'all kind of fell out?
No. My story is a little bit different when it comes to, like you said, long time friends and stuff like that, because I'm one of the people that moved out of my hometown. So when you get away, there is no, you get what I'm saying? Like, I moved. So
Yeah.
all of that you can't really hold me back too much, because I'm not trying to do this with you in my presence. So those that fell off because I was no longer in proximity. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't
Yeah.
have to experience that. I've experienced it in other ways, but not necessarily okay, I'm trying to grind, I'm trying to get out of this circumstance, and you holding me back, or you're creating a problem, me trying to chase my goal. No, I didn't have that. I've had it
Okay.
in other ways.
Okay. Fresh, what's the word? How you feeling?
What's good, brother? What's good? What's good? I tempted to agree, or I actually do agree, not tempted, with Janae, that the young lady is kind of just spouting foolishness, because what typically happens, and like you, Rashad, I've been in spaces with signed artists and things of that nature. No, I was nobody special, but I was around a lot of things, and I still do music on the back end, right, producing and things of that nature. And what typically happens is, someone becomes the ace in the group, right? Like, everybody was pursuing music. Someone becomes the ace, and then they have a standard to, you either need to meet or to maintain. And a lot of people falter from that, and then they try to blame it on the person who's putting them all on. So what happened is, Glorilla's the one that made it. Gorilla just simply has a standard of who she wants around her. Like, hey, y'all gotta be working on music. Y'all gotta be trying to put out projects. If I'm fronting stuff, cause she's the signed artist. She's like, if I'm fronting stuff, or if I'm having the producers in here, you can't be here playing. You can't just be in here smoking weed, wanting to live the life, but you're not producing any music. A very similar thing happened when 50 Cent had signed, what was her name? Olivia, right? I remember he dropped her because he was like, Shawty want to live the life of an R&B star, but she's not putting no music out, and I'm losing money, paying for producers producers and things of that nature. There's no product. Like, where's the album? Where's the singles? Where's the song? And it's probably the same thing with that because I don't, watch, Baddies or any of those shows. But if Jonay's saying she's also doing reality TV and all these other things, but you haven't come up with music, like you're not out here grinding, I can see why there's a reason for disassociation, on Gorilla's behalf, right? I can see why Gorilla's like, hey, my profile is rising daily. I'm putting in the work. I put y'all in the room. Now you got to put yourself on.
Yeah, I
I know.
think we seen Yachty talked about this last year, I think, or 2 years ago, and where he signed. I think it was last year because he was going back and forth with Caribou, and where he was like, "Hey man, I'm damn near $1 million in the hole, just like on y'all look and music and beats and studio time. Like none of y'all niggas have made any money back based on
And
the
that's
money that I put into y'all niggas. So like, and so he quit. Like he stopped, investing in them. And I think that I don't think that Glow was investing in Gloss Up, but I do think when you seen after Glow put out that Cha Cha record and how everybody was kicking her back in, and then she took that shit and fucking took off and start just putting out hit after hit. And then when you're in that mode of working, you want the people that are, especially the people that you love that are in the same field. Hey man, fuck with me, and I'm gonna
and I'm
help you, and I'm gonna put you on, and I'm gonna put you in different rooms. And when that person is not as focused, it's difficult to kind of still be locked in the friendship because my mind is somewhere else anyway. Now, if you here and we can
right.
we can run together, cool. But if not, I gotta do something else.
And that's how it falters though, because it's like you're the one who's putting the friendship at risk because I, as a friend, have put you in the rooms of what you said you want, where you wanted to be. I've now risked my, reputation, all these things putting you in here, and then you come in here and you playing. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you really my friend, or were you just latching on, for an opportunity? Because I think also everybody's circle, like there is a natural circle of friendship, and I think everybody's like tiers of friendship is different because what I typically see and what I typically have in my life, right, is you have acquaintances, you have friends, and then you have what I call the inner circle, or people call it their close circle. Inner circle is almost interchangeable with family, to me. Like I have homies, from college, that they were teammates, in college, or, a couple of homies from high school who are like inner circle. Um, I have friends, typically are people I went to school with, right? Fellow alum. I've met, in walks of
Yeah,
life.
we get it. We get it. We get it. Come
You
on.
know, Ma- Hey, yo, are you okay?
Memphis, let him finish up.
Maybe you could have been just said, "Is you cool?"
Y'all nigga,
That
it's
was
only
finished.
Tuesday. It is
Like, you know what
only
I'm saying?
tuning.
Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a nigga get disrespectful, it'd be wild in here, but it's all good. Y'all
Nah,
got it. You got
just
it.
hit it with the "Is you cool?"
Nah, it's cool. Bro. It's cool. It's cool, yo.
Yeah.
You finna come up here and
Great.
add zero to the
Wonderful.
conversation, bro. Like,
Good morning.
It
Great.
is
Well, good morning.
Tuesday. Jesus.
nah,
Jeez,
bro, I don't
man,
do
I was
disrespect,
finna
bro.
go to
I'm always respectful, but
sleep.
I don't do disrespect, bro. Like, that's
I
ridiculous.
I was finna go to sleep, friend. It's
Well, then go to
Tuesday.
sleep, man, with your goofy ass. Like,
Uh, no, I'm at work making money and talking to you. Shout out to me.
so
So
you can see,
I
you
wanna
can see.
correct some things Fresh said. First off, Glow is not invested in in Gloss because they're in different labels, right? So when it got put on after the single, they all got signed to different labels and different deals. Now Gloss fumbled her deal with QC because she wasn't making no money. Hey, we invested in you. We did this, that, and the third. We're not recouping anything after you. So QC dropped her. Um, Gloss still has very much a Memphis mentality in the way she talks, in the way she does business, in the way that she conducts herself. And so sometimes, although a person may think they're ready for the level up, they're not. And I think that's just really what you're seeing with their dynamic. One person is handling the level up better than the other, and so therefore there's a disconnect between the two.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks just be chatting. They don't really know what it takes. And then when you put in that position, um, you gonna fumble. You gonna fumble. It takes hard work. And I think it's easy for us to, sit on the internet and give our opinion and not be in those rooms. But it do take a lot of shit. And so when you see
Yeah.
somebody's priority focus on, the shit that she's focused on now,
And
that's her
listen,
life, but it's not music.
Gloss ain't wrong, right? So I watched Gloss on Ari's show on BET. I can't think of the name on it of it right now, but Ari has a show on BET where she has different artists and influencers and stuff like that, and they follow them. And one of the things Gloss talked about was, hey, I got these kids, but I don't have nobody to watch them, so I can even go to the studio. Like her folks didn't just stop working. Her mom still works here in Memphis and tries to get to Atlanta when she can to help her. So she was like, I don't
Yeah,
have
I
the
ain't gonna lie, that's
nanny.
bullshit. I think we gotta stop letting people get
I
off
hear
that
you.
bullshit.
I hear you. I'm just saying that's what she showed us.
Oh, Shawty,
But
Shawty,
she
you cut me
also,
off to say nothing, bro. Like, Shawty cut me off to say, oh, because of life challenges, bro. Like, what? You can be signed to different labels and still have an investment in somebody who's been in the music industry. That's what I'm saying. You
oh
can't be
Jesus,
disrespectful to say nothing, like, at all.
I
Feel-
cut you off to give more factual information because
to
what you said
No,
wasn't
what,
factual.
what, what was what I
But
said was
either
not
way,
factual. You can be
boy,
invested in somebody
you
without
heard
being
me, and
signed.
I'm at work, and I ain't finna argue
Without
with
being
you. I
signed. I
said
don't
I'm
care
at work, and
about
I
you
ain't
being
finna
at
argue with
work.
you.
I don't care about you being at work.
Oh, you're mad. Your feelings
Big
are hurt.
disrespect. Shoot,
You're
like,
mad. Your feelings are hurt.
no, not at all.
Okay,
Not at
Fresh,
all.
go
your
get a
mic, your
band-aid.
mic sounded muffled, Fresh. Hey,
Not at all.
listen, it's only Tuesday. We just started. We
Go get a
29 minutes
band-aid.
in.
You'll be all right.
Listen,
You know what I'm saying? This is the problem though.
Put
Like, I don't do
put a
disrespect.
band-aid on that boo-boo, baby. You'll be
Yeah, I don't
okay.
do disrespect. That's what I'm saying. That's not gonna work, baby. We can see you. Like, Shawty, you could never. Relax.
go.
You the
Listen,
one sound upset.
It's
let's
women.
Hell,
go.
leave it
Let's go to
alone
the
then.
hands.
The fuck?
Let's get a refresh.
Child, we gotta move with respect though. Like, Shawty came up here to offer nothing
I
and we
didn't
disrespect.
disrespect you. I just said you was taking too long talking. Ego fragile, ain't it? Real fragile.
Not fragile. See, that's what I'm saying. That right there is disrespect. It's not about
No, it's
ego.
not.
Disrespect.
Because you're doing the
I think. Hold on.
most.
Hold on. Wait. I
Shut
think Fresh feels disrespected. I don't think you can step on somebody's toe and tell them that it don't hurt. So, Fresh does feel disrespected. I do think that we could have addressed that a little differently. He is the one that Fresh does go a long time, but there's a way to say it, and I think interrupting him and being like, what you are like, yeah, we could have did that differently. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, Sandman. All right.
I think we could have
What's
did that.
next?
Go. Let's get to Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy, what's the word, man? How you feeling?
Bro,
Feeling good this morning. Okay, hello everybody. I just wanted to say that this is a case of this is just clearly a case of not staying down until you come up. Like she still could have been in them rooms with Gorilla, rubbing elbows with the hit makers and people like that, just being a little hype man, getting a feature here or there, wait until your time to blow come. Instead of wanting to do that, she chose the other path, and now you on baddies, probably
Nah,
fighting
Tony, she
every
got
other
signed.
Sunday.
She got signed.
Yeah, she got signed, but she chose to take that deal that she maybe shouldn't have took though. Is the point now? Like hindsight is 2020. Like we know now that maybe that you clearly shouldn't have took that deal. And now you are where you are, and you still could have been over there though. Is the problem? Like we got hindsight now. Like we know that wasn't the move that she should have took. And I'm saying, maybe you should have just stayed over there, up under your friend's umbrella. Meeting the people that she know that want to deal with her, and then they'll maybe deal with you just to get closer to her. Like being in that vicinity is something, as opposed to now you're over with Natalie Nunn doing what? Doing nothing to promote your rap career, and it's like now we know like that was a bad choice that you made. Like, and I'm just saying, like, it may have been a better decision just to stay over there. Nobody wants to be number two. Like nobody wants to play that role anymore. And like rappers need hype men. Busta needed Spliff Star. Like he was around.
This
Like it
nigga
was a
said
thing.
be a career hype woman.
Yo,
Jody, come on.
it would have been better than what she is now, no?
I think
Like, where are you at right now?
there's a famous quote by Mike Tyson and where he says, "I wish everybody was rich." Right? Because I think that
I ain't never
when you
heard
are
this Mike Tyson quote.
yeah, I'll look it up. But it's like when you're not in that position and you think that you want it or you feel like it or you want to get there, nobody knows how much work, energy, and effort it takes to stay in that spot. They asked him one time, why do you get up and run at 2 o'clock in the morning? And he said, because my opponent is asleep. Like that's the type of mindset that the greats have, that with somebody who doesn't really think like that or feel like that or act like that, but they want to live the lifestyle. I think somebody brought up Olivia. Like, they just want to be in the know. They just want to have their face everywhere and people talk about them. But are you, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and running, right? Are you doing the hard shit? Are you doing the things that people don't see? Everybody, Steph Curry, shoot 1,000,000 shots while nobody looking just to make that one on game day. And folks don't have that mindset. And so to me, it doesn't seem like, she shouldn't have took the deal. It doesn't seem like any of that shit. It seems like she thought she wanted something, and then she got into a position in where it's harder than what you thought it would be, and I don't really want to do all that shit, right? And so for me, that's what it seems like. And then Glow is in a space right now, and where she's trying to take her shit to another level. I think that she's not just focused on music. Like, she's doing music and she kicking ass in music, but she wants to be something so much more. And when you have that mindset and that work ethic and that grind, I can't be waiting on you. That don't mean I hate you. That don't mean I don't love you, but I ain't waiting on your ass. Like, we in a different space right now. Go ahead, Memphis.
Just to clarify, there was no deal for Gloss when it comes to CMG. The only person who got offered a contract was Glow, so she would have had to have been just hanging around or taking her own thing, which is what she did. Even K Carbon didn't get a deal with CMG, only Glow, so there was no reason for her to stay around.
I want to ask y'all, did y'all experience this as far as friendships in y'all own personal life? Whether you were, Glow, or whether you were Gloss Up. Like, was this a situation that y'all had to deal with? I know I definitely did. I think I told y'all my walk through the mall story. But I think that's very interesting. Yesterday, when I seen that, y'all ever dealt with that shit?
That would what?
As far as just like
In music?
outgrowing a friend because of
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
life, of interests, of circumstances, where y'all just not on the same page no more.
Yeah, for
Oh yeah.
sure.
I had a homie who befriended me. Well, we was friends. I ain't gonna hold you. Uh, 22 years old, Matt started making money together in the nightlife. We merged our groups together as far as promotional groups. Friends for 5, 7 years, somewhere in there. I switched my career path, and then that's when you saw the true colors of like enviousness, and niggas' true colors came out at the end of the day. But we ain't friends no more. But we made money. We did a lot of shit together. It was just like, damn, nigga, all this time you was really truly a hater. It's crazy. I had a big falling out on social media in the city of Chicago. It was a bunch of shit, but yeah, it was
What
wild.
does hating mean? I think we
Hating
throw that
me,
word
it
out
was
so
so
much.
for me. Okay, so in this scenario, okay, I got to travel in the world. I got to be in that fights all star weekend, etc. So I'm posting little shit on social media. Hey, bro, I see you, big ups, bro. You doing your thing, you killing me, da 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 da. Da. Fake dick eating type shit. Pause. And then, shit hit the fan, sneak dissing behind the back, other homie, you trying to hit up other bitches that I was fucking with, and all these other bitches coming back telling me shit. So, that's what fake shit, fraud shit at the end of the day. So, but I could read between the lines over time. I'm like, all right, I'm outgrowing this shit. I ain't even fucking with fools like that no more. I done passed, I done went past, where he was at. So, it is what it is. I come with the game.
You also said another phrase, um, that I honestly don't really understand now because of the events yesterday. I want to say this very, very lightly, but you said dick riding. Pause. A lot of people say that, and to me, I think inherently the person who says that is the hater. I'm not gonna lie. Because a lot of it is like, you see somebody supporting something, and it seems like you would like that support. And because you might not be getting that support, then they're doing something wrong. So they're dick riding. I never understood the term of dick riding. I think we gotta. I think, in
Wow.
my opinion, we gotta get away from
That
that.
sound like a you thing. That sound like a
Yeah,
you
I
thing,
think this,
bro. I ain't
yeah,
gonna
what
hold
you
you
just
because
said, I think is a different type of definition.
Well,
I
I
think that's
never knew what
usually
it
yeah.
meant. I
what
just always seen like somebody getting support and then somebody don't like. Oh, you dick riding. It was like,
I get what you're
what?
saying.
So
Like how?
that's like when in the scenario I'm saying it was literally on my social media. I make a post. I could be just on a flight and whatever I was doing, and you in my comments like, I see you, bro. Woo, woo, congratulations or whatever it is, right? But on the back end, Rashad, I'm gonna use you as the example. It ain't you, right? But um, you going to Jonay like, oh, that nigga DB ain't on shit. That nigga, da 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 da. Just probably to get in next to a joint that I'm gonna take Jonay. I'm just a random joint. Okay, I don't want to use nobody, but it's a random joint. You behind my back or you saying, oh man, fuck that nigga. I remember when that nigga had you know 100, you know what I mean, just some fuck shit you be saying, a bad faith, but in social settings, you trying to still be next to a
Yeah,
motherfucker.
dirty
If
Mac.
that makes
Right.
Yeah, so a
sense.
nigga was dirty macking. Okay, I can understand that, but the dick riding,
Yeah.
I don't get that. And
I think it's dick ride if you on my platforms, like, oh shit, I see you, dog. Like, you killing it. You know what I mean? But then that's like a nigga congratulating Kobe on scoring 40. But behind, another on Paul Pierce podcast, he finna go say Kobe wasn't shit. Man, Kobe,
so a nigga was trying to be
nigga,
close to you, but he really ain't fuck with you.
he was. He was close. He was close. But at the same point, he was a hater, dog.
What
That's hater shit to me.
what's your definition of it, Jonay?
Of what? Which one?
Of,
Because he said,
of dick
hey,
riding.
oh, Jesus. See, I don't see, to me, I'm not even trying to be funny with this, Rashad. I think dick riding is like a guy thing. Like the guys be the ones pointing out who dick riding. I never understood it. But from what I gather, based off of how I hear it used, people be using it in different ways, right? First off, I've heard it used in the way that you explained, like a dude just celebrating another man just because he ain't no hater. A dude that is hating on the man he's celebrating will call you a dick rider. You get what I'm saying? Like if somebody,
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
majority
like
of way
if
that
a
I
guy
see it.
sees Rashad, right, doing, I'm gonna use you, let's just use you as the example since this is your space and you're consistent, right? Because you have consistent spaces, right? And you get at minimum, every time you do a space, every single day, you get 75 to 100 people in here on average. That's really good to be so consistent, right, Rashad? So you got to give yourself your tens, right? We're going to do that. If there's a dude out here doing spaces too,
Uh,
you understand? That's no hater shit. That's facts. If there's a dude out here that thinks that, well, I could do better, and then he hears DB say, nah, Rashad, he out here doing the damn thing, and we all know he's doing the damn thing, a dude will call DB, no disrespect, a dick rider. Oh, you just dick riding ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because you just celebrating a nigga for
right,
doing
right.
exactly what we be in here seeing
Nigga,
him do. He's
nigga
consistently
consistently
putting
doing
in
his
the
work.
work, and there is somebody who wish they could do it will call DB a dick rider when it's facts. So that's what I've seen it. To me, the other alternative definition is people. Okay, now this is where I've seen it where I agree with it. Right, Rashad? You know the podcast we all came from, right? There are people that will defend anything that that person did or does or says, even if it's, wrong or right. And then people will call them dick riders, and that's facts because it's like, you don't even see that the podcast that you love, that person can't say nothing wrong. Now that's some dick riding shit. You get what I'm saying? So I think those are the only two ways, but the first way is what I see more often. And I think that's crazy.
Yeah, Rashad, you see that with us as niggas when we out and you pull up. All right, hypothetically, you're in a relationship. So respect to the relationship, right? But before that, maybe you pulled up. You had two or three of them things at the club, and you got the section. You walk past one of the homies, and you dap them up. He always dapping you up every time you walk past, and whenever y'all pop out, you see the nigga. But to your other homie or your cousin or something, they like, man, that nigga ain't no shit. Nigga, that nigga. came through the ugly asshole, and he ain't got no bitches. He ain't got no.
Not
Come
the
on, bro.
whole
You know you
ugly
done seen some
dude.
shit. You know what I mean? Come on, nigga. You act like you ain't, I know I see it. It happened today. It probably happened on this internet. I don't give a fuck about a soul, nigga. But it happens. It come with the.
Yeah.
I think it come with the
You
game though.
have
As
to
a
know that
nigga that's
people are
popping,
just gonna
as
dislike.
as
People dislike
as the
for
song
any
say,
no
nigga.
reasons. They just don't like it because you up.
If you ain't got no haters, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, nigga.
Wait, who rapped that? Who
Like,
said that?
if you ain't got no haters,
Who
you
is
ain't
that?
Uh,
popping, nigga. If you ain't got no
is
haters,
that
you
nigga
ain't
from the
popping,
South?
nigga.
Yeah, who is that?
Nah, that's a New York
Oh, is it a New
nigga.
York
It's a
nigga?
New York nigga, I think. If you
Who
ain't
did
got no,
that
who made that song,
song?
Fresh? You
I know that song. It
if
just
you ain't
is
got
that French
no,
Montana? No, it ain't.
I want to say French too.
But
Let
yeah,
me
no,
pull it
I
Hey,
up.
agree.
listen. Shout out to French Montana. He out here with a goddamn Dubai princess. Wake it
Yeah,
up.
A
that's
Dubai
facts.
Princess.
princess.
Wake it up.
But
Wake it up.
what's the that's the definition you believe when somebody say that? See, my biggest thing is
Rico Richie.
Rico Richie. Okay, got it.
Yeah, we don't know that nigga for a
I don't
reason.
know who that is, but no, that's a
Nah,
fact.
he was like a one hit wonder
Yeah.
nigga because Chris Brown and them did the remix with Meek Mill.
God bless
hmm
him. What you was about to say,
No,
Joe?
I was gonna say what. So I mean, like the definitions we gave. Like, what do you find when you feel like you want to call somebody a dick rider? Which I just hate that word. Period. But when they do that, where do you lean into?
I, I see a lot of shit on these timelines, and where, uh, possibly, right? I think the things that I see are very, like, malicious and intentional as far as aligning with other people, especially in these last couple weeks, and where it's just like, yeah, you might be. I don't necessarily call it like dick riding though, because like I think it's just like niggas just out here being weird. That's what I say. Niggas is being weird. And so you want to align with different folks, or, be in folks, spaces or mentions, and want to be seen.
hmm
Just to, do something crazy or be weird. That's where it's at.
hmm
I haven't used that word a lot. I've said it before, but I
Yeah.
haven't used it a lot, because a lot of times it do, in my opinion, just be support, and I can't, just because I don't like somebody and they're supporting something else or somebody else that we might be in it, like even off the internet, like we might be in the same lane or have the same type of business. I can't like be mad that they're getting support. Like, cause I feel like a hater, right? I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
a nigga like,
crazy to
oh
me.
shit.
But that to me is like I'm not trying to be funny. Like it happens with women for sure, but it's a lot on the guy's side of things. Like I don't really get it.
What is the
Like not.
woman equivalent? Like, I don't.
I don't listen. I feel like when we have so many different variations of it, I don't know. I see it a lot in different ways. I don't want to make it about me, but one thing I think happens mostly with women is oh, you think you're so blank. No, I don't. You think I am. So that's why you saying it. Oh, you think
Yeah.
you saw this. You think you saw that. No, you do.
You're so stuck
Yeah,
up.
you
You're
think
so
you saw this.
snotty.
No, you do. And that's why you're saying
That's
it.
goody two
Yeah, like
shoes.
you pointing out the things that you observe in me, and I haven't even said that. So that's like the to me the equivalent. But there's other ways, of course, but that is the most common that I feel like happens where girls be, low key, on that hating shit.
It's jealousy. It's enviousness. Uh, it's some people just don't like the
It's a lot
motherfucker
of it is
truly, but they
intimidation
pussy.
too. You know what I
I ain't
mean?
gonna
Like,
lie. I've kind of in my personal life, like, kind of steered clear of feeling that way that somebody's doing that to me.
hmm
I hate like assigning labels and narratives. And so like you would have to do something like very, very obvious for me to be like, oh yeah, that nigga's jealous. Like I would, like, I don't know. I don't like
yeah,
that.
I agree, Rashad. But here's the thing, and I've had this conversation recently. Um, you gotta know that when you are a person that stands out and you have a certain type of character, you gotta recognize people are going to hate you for just who you are. And it really do be your friends sometimes. It be sometimes the people closest to you, and you can tell because they want to keep you where you were and not who you are. Like if you've evolved, the people that don't want you changing and they want you to stay exactly where they met you, that be some hater shit. Cause if you see a friend evolving, if you don't feel proud of them or like, damn, like I'm really seeing you evolve. Like I'm really proud to see that you
Damn,
growing.
nigga, why you want to move to the suburbs, Rashad?
Yeah,
Like, we
like
good
Rashad,
in the
like
city, folks. Like,
them niggas
what,
you used to
nigga?
walk around the
What?
mall with, right, Rashad? Like you told us. If you walked around the mall with the dudes, right? And then you got a girl, you started having kids, you started becoming a family man. That one friend that was on some, man, Rashad, you still the same
Yeah.
nigga that be what was with us there. Da da da. That's some hating shit. But you gotta see it for what it is. A lot of times people don't see it like that and they still try to keep that energy around them and thinking, oh, that's just them. They just going through something. It ain't me. That ain't me. That ain't a me thing. No, it's a you thing. Cause now they jealous that you were able to evolve, and a lot of people don't have the strength nor the character to evolve out of their current circumstances. They don't have it, and
There's
you
a,
got it.
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Like I
And
said,
that's
I
not
don't.
for everybody, but I'm just saying that does happen very often. And a lot of people don't recognize that it is just, you don't want to call them haters, but it's like there is jealousy.
Yeah, I see that. There's comments that are made just with these like spaces and shit like that. What people say, oh, this nigga act like he, and like for me, I've
See,
never said
act like.
anything like that.
Exactly.
Like I don't act like I never said nothing like that. So when I hear those things, it's just like, but
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't want to attach no narrative or nothing like that towards it. But I do be hearing like little shit like that, and where I'm just like, nigga, I just be, I just like to talk. Like that's all I say. I
Mm-hmm.
just like to talk. Well, I don't know where that shit is coming
You
from.
talking, because it's not coming from you, it's coming from them. Like, for example, like you said, using you as the example, right? One day you decided, all right, I'm doing spaces. Whether or not you feel like somebody else had done it before you, currently, it don't matter. You said, I want to do this. I want to do it every day at 12, and I want to do this consistently at this time. I'm going to take I'm going to first hold them on spaces. I'm going to take them on spaces, put them on a Patreon, and I'm going to be consistent. Whether or not y'all fuck with it or not, that's not what it is. I'm just being consistent. I want you to know consistency is a disciplined act. You get what I'm saying? And there are people that are jealous that somebody can consistently do something that they cannot do. Simple.
Yeah,
And
I
whether
get
you
you.
got
And
50 people, whether you have 100, you had 200 plus people in here at 12 o'clock on a random weekday. Like that's stuff that some people that like social media attention, they gonna say, well, how the hell he do that? And then they start trying to assign the reasons why. Oh, he's a panderer. Oh, now sometimes they say you are now, but you know what I'm saying? Like they'll then start assigning your why instead of it being your consistency and your discipline. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like people will much rather say you're a fluke than say, no, he's consistent and he knows what he's trying to do. And I envy the fact that he could set his mind and do something and do that shit so consistently that now he's at X amount of episodes in, and I can't even sit around and do this for 2 days, let alone, you get what I'm saying? Now that's not everybody, but I'm just saying that's how that starts. The envy or the jealousy starts there. And then sometimes people have valid reasons why they don't fuck with you. You get what I'm saying? You just got to know how to sift through, cause some of that stuff is not that.
Yeah, that shared responsibility should be that's one thing that I hate that, right? But I'm gonna get to that. Go ahead, Fresh. What's the word?
Yeah, and I think just to add on to what Janae and DB was talking about, I think a lot of people have really a textbook inferiority complex. Like Janae hit on a really good point when she said a lot of times people come with these assertions or they come with certain things, like you think you're so smart, you think you're so this. It's like, no, you do. I've never said that.
Clock it. Exactly. I've never said that.
Like, so fine. No, you do, because I'm a regular person of the people, but because I'm sure of myself and I'm sure within myself, and you are not, it jump up out of you. And that be the problem. You've seen it in spaces. You've seen it, and because spaces is just a microcosm of real life. You see it in the workplace, all types of things. And somebody who's never shitted on nobody, never had to step on nobody to get where they're at, people will still do that to them because it's like, why was Rashad able to take spaces like he invented the wheel, but then he put them on Patreon, and why is his spaces getting all this traction and mine aren't? I feel like I'm talking about better topics. I feel like I'm
Yep.
need it happen. They call them like space wars and stuff like that. And there's always these banal reasons, like they try to say they start, but a lot of times it'd be jealousy. Like, why are they over there in his space and it's 200 people, but my space would be better? And it's like, you see, it's a textbook inferiority complex. And that reaction, that visceral reaction is one of like the textbook reactions that you see when somebody has a inferiority complex. So instead of looking within themselves, it's like, man, why is Rashad able to do this? Or why is Jonay able to do this? Or she thinks she's so bad. Or she thinks she's so this. And she's like, nah, she ain't never shitted on none of you about that, because she's sure and confident within herself. Now that makes, you know what I'm saying? That bothers you because you aren't with you. So that's a lot of times what it is.
I want
No,
to
for
ask
a
y'all.
Fendi fact, fresh.
I want to ask y'all a question, just about Twitter and social media as a whole. There is a tweet. Let me put this in the jumbo, but it says Twitter isn't a real place. That's what he had in quotes, like, because people say that, like, social media isn't real, Twitter
Right.
isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
But it says, Twitter isn't a real place, has to be the biggest troll on here. People have gotten robbed, fell in and out of love, became pregnant, contracted STDs, lost their family, found jobs, lost their jobs, all because of Twitter. It's definitely a real place. How do y'all feel about people saying that this shit ain't real, right? I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's hard to believe that, I've been doing this 6 days a week since February, heard a lot of people's stories, heard a lot of people's perspectives, how they act, see how they act, listen to how they act when different
Right.
things come up. It's hard for me to believe that people will act one day on this motherfucker, like one way, because a lot of people go from space to space to space because we enjoy talking, we enjoy listening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard for to believe that you would act this way and then in real life you are a totally different person.
All right. So Rashad, this is a slow unpack, because if we skip past and just give blanket answers, we're going to miss the nuance of the conversation, right? So is Twitter a real place? Yes, with an asterisk, meaning it's real because there's real people, real experiences. The people you come into contact with can become real life friends, real life partners, real life, like a lot of great things can come off of this. People can get real life business. You can get real life connections. I've met some people that that's never going to leave my life off of here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
However, there has been time after time after time where the way that you act on here and who you are in real life are two different people. That is a Fendi fact. Because you will have people get on here and act one way, and then you either see them, hear from them. So for example, you get on here and purport yourself to be one thing, and then, people get weird and they do weird stuff and then try to go search you and do it. And then it's like, oh, well, this isn't what that is. Now there's some people that there's consistency. Who they are online is who they are in real life. But Twitter, let's just say Twitter specifically, because it's a text app more than it is like Instagram, where it's like photos and stuff. Twitter allows you to create persona. That's what makes it unreal. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Twitter allows people to say stuff to people on here, to threaten people on here, to act like they're about something on here. And then in real life, they are far from it. So it's like, it allows you to live out fantasy if you choose to, but it also is very real too. So that's why I'm like, it is a real place, but it does leave room for people to create fantasy and narratives about who they would want to be in real life that they are really not. Like
Okay.
Rashad, you saying you 6 foot? If you would never no, hold on, I'm just using this as an example. Rashad, you saying you 6 foot? If you never posted a pic, we would say, oh, Rashad is 6 foot.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Or whatever. I think, but it doesn't mean that every experience or every connection or every conversation you have is not real. Cause I initially came onto Twitter early on and felt this ain't a real place. I used to say that very often until I experienced friendships and relationships and different things that, oh, okay, this is actually a real thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Go ahead, no hope. What's the word? And then we got fresh.
Good morning. I just want to say when people say Twitter is not a real place, I think they're talking about people's character development because this is the all like text app. It used to be like all tech savvy, like you just come on here, you say crazy shit to go viral. So that was kind of like the gist of Twitter for a moment, and then you get paid for saying like outlandish shit. So whatever hits, whatever's trending goes up. But I think people forget that just because you see a 10% of the opinion, that doesn't mean that's the majority of the world or the majority of the people think like that, because that's just how the algorithm is shaped based on whatever's trending. So like whoever is running the algorithm behind this app is making you see, making the perception of what this is to what this is, but that's on any other platform really. But I think that's the really thing is like alter ego and like character development can be a great thing, especially when you're discovering who you are and you're coming into the world and trying to find your place. But I think people get too caught up in like a makeshift world, and that's what makes it not real.
You said alter ego is a great thing?
It could be used a great thing. Like a lot of people develop themselves online. So as not a lot of people are in the world interacting as of now. So like online is where people like they date, they meet, they get their groceries, they go to their bank online. It's a majority online centered world. Like it's a whole like metaverse, right? So, but I do think that there's some people that come out of it okay. I don't think that's a huge percentage of people that do, because a lot of people get caught up in the character of the life, the character of the likes. But just really how you use it can really be a great thing. But I don't think people use it in not so great ways.
Okay. I get that. Go ahead, fresh.
Yeah, I've never really subscribed to that analogy. Like Twitter is not a real place. Facades are facades. There's facades in real life, right? There's people who purport one way in public and then go home and are living on someone's floor. Like I just think Twitter is, once again, it's just a microcosm of what actually happens. Like you go to work, you do things. This app is in your pocket on your phone, right? Like it is a real place. It's real people putting their thoughts on here. What has been removed is their inhibitions. So it's just like being drunk, right? So most times when people are doing wild stuff on here and things of that nature, they think it's because it can't trace back to them. But this is what they actually think. Like these are the things they actually want to say. They just don't want to have to say it and face it, right? Just like you quoted Mike Tyson. I'll quote Mike Tyson again. It's crazy how he has so many great quotables, right? He said, social media has made it so where people can say crazy things and not get punched in the face for it, right? And what we've always seen, that people talk noise behind somebody's back and not say it to them, right? Because they know it would be an immediate conflict. And I think social media has just removed that barrier, and it's just a representation of that. So I never really subscribe to it's not a real place, because if that was the case, like why would people do content creation, right?
Well, let
Those
me
are
ask
real.
you a question. Does that make them more real or more fake? Because you're saying something that you really would want to say, and one could make an argument that you are not speaking your mind in person makes you more fake, and on Twitter you're being the person who you really want to be, quote unquote, as far as the comments that you make or the thought process that you have, and where you're probably being the real you on social media.
Right. That's why I say no. That's why I say it is the real place, because these are people's actual thoughts. Just like with voting, right? Like with voting, when you see them go up to people and do like those street interviews and like they purposely lie, and the people still be like, yeah, I heard that too, and things of that nature. Those are the same people that not only vote, they come online and spew like wild rhetoric, because that's who they really are. Right? People just don't, like, you're just not going to encounter these places. We're seeing people's thoughts in real time, all in this one app, rather than you having to have to go up and have a conversation with people. Like, have you ever like been to the gym and after y'all done hooping, you just sit there and like talk to folks, or folks would be talking about a random, like we call this the barbershop app, right? Because you just run through this random Rolodex of topics and things of that nature. And have you ever like sat and just hear people from different walks of life and they talk? And sometimes there's people who say like wild, crazy stuff, and these are the real thoughts. That's Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
it's all focused here on this app. People are saying and doing crazy stuff, because if it wasn't real, then like, it'd be like, what is content creation? Because people in real life are doing that. Like, people in real life have always been doing that, right? Back in the days of YouTube, people were doing that, right? And it was harder, right, to go viral and to do all these things, but people have always been doing these things. It's just now you have a camera to record it, or now you have a place or a medium to upload it to for people to see it. So it is a real place. People are just able to move without their inhibitions, because, you know, I looked up the difference because I wanted to make sure I was correct. Like, what's the difference between code switching and facade? And it was, and what it said online was it was their function, as to where code switching is typically used to acquiesce to like social events or social, cultural norms and things of that nature, as to where facades are like a deliberate, like they're meant to be a deliberate ruse, right? Or a deliberate, like,
So just more like a overall thing.
yeah, like you're trying to, like it's, like with code switching, you're not losing the essence of who you are. Like, if I'm around my boys from Texas and I'm talking with a certain diction and things of that nature because they're my boys and and they understand that, as to where if I'm in a social circle, I'm at a social event and I have the social cue to recognize, all right, this ain't the place for that. But I'm not changing the fiber of who I am. I can still have my same views on certain things, right? And things of that nature. As to where a facade, somebody changes, like they start trying to alter and change the fiber of their being, or present as something opposite to the fiber of their being. I think that could be the difference, or that's how I read it when I looked up what the difference was,
Hold,
because
hold,
it's nuanced.
hold
That's a
up.
very
This
topic.
this nigga Hulan might have put one of the greatest Mike Tyson quotes ever. He said, "My back is broken. Spinal." Listen, Hulan, I've been over here crying when I heard that. This nigga is ridiculous. Shout out to Mike Tyson for all these motherfucking quotes, man. I ain't gonna hold you. That shit is crazy. We got Cortland up here, and then we got Levita. What's the word? How y'all feeling?
What's going on? I hear what Fresh is saying. I do feel like Twitter sometimes can be this fantastical place, right? Whether you view that as real or not. It's a lot of times, and I guess it's some of the medium that I mainly run in, right? Like, you see people and you see people say things, or you hear people say things, and then you meet them outside of this medium and they are completely different. So it'd be like, is this really how you think? Is this your real thoughts? Right? Like, are you just saying this to get a certain reaction out of a crowd of people? And so it makes it hard to kind of navigate Twitter, right? Or social media in general, because you really don't know who these people are until they get in front of you. Like, a person can be anybody on the other side of an Avi or the other side of that keyboard, and then you get them in person, or you see them in person, and it's a completely different thing, right? Now, that's not everybody, but it happens more often than not. So, like, I think it kind of throws people for a second, because you do hear outlandish things in spaces, you do read outlandish things on the timeline, and it makes you wonder, is this person saying this because this is their real thoughts, this is their true, like, how they really process the world, or are they just saying these things to get a rise out of a group of people, out in the world, right? Are they trying to just get, or are they trying to say something to get people going to start a conversation, right? And so I think that's where it becomes this fantastical place. I wouldn't say it's real or fake. I just think it's just one of those things where it kind of becomes this, like, it's a mixed bag. It's really hard to explain it. Like, it's a big mixed bag.
And I think it's getting harder too, pause, that it's we are living this life of, especially with the emergence of AI, and where what the fuck is real and what's not. But I am of the mindset, because Kari, he put in the comments, not y'all trying to get off the scared in real life person, but tough online is the real you. To a certain extent, I think that that's true. The nigga online is saying his real thought, especially when you have like these pages, these anonymous pages,
I
like,
don't
you
agree
know,
with that. Mm-mm.
I think so. I think that there's a
Mm-mm.
lot of people like in real life there are consequences. You will get punched in the mouth, or you will get fired, or you will, your bitch will break up with you, or like for certain things. Like,
No,
but
but I think, but to be honest, Rashad, I don't know if that's the real them. I just think they know they can get that. Like, that is why, like, you cannot be a troll in real life because there's real life consequences. So people like to do things. It's not their real self. It is, this is the place where I know there is no consequence. So I don't think it's like a real thing. I think it is, this is the spot where I have no consequence because it's online. It's, no one knows. Like, people, some people that do some of the weird things we've seen, they know no one knows them. They know no one's going to find them. They don't care to be, like, they know all of these things, which is why there's all of these, oh, you're a nerd and you're this, and you end up finding out that all of that mouth is backed up by a person that would call the police or never been in a fight
but it's
or
kind of
don't know
like,
no women or don't know no men. Like, those are the things that people realize, no, that's the real you. The real you that is
it's kind of
sitting
like
there on your
purge though.
laptop tweeting from the basement, that's the real you. You are on here because you believe that there is this persona where you could feel like you get back. You could say the things you've always wanted to say, but it doesn't mean that that's really who you are. You just know this is an arena where there is no real consequence, because what is somebody going to do? If you don't if you don't give them a location of you, if let's say we're going to the extremes of the things that people say, right, Rashad? If I don't give you my location and you don't do something weird like find me or you get what I'm saying, or find an IP address and try to, like, cause that takes a level of weird to do that too. People understand there's no consequence, so I could do what I want.
But what I'm saying is, and then we got to get to Levita and Torn up here.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is, um, the movie Purge, right? What it was basically the message was, what would you do if there were no consequence? And I think a lot of us live in a world in where we understand consequence, and so we allow those things to govern our life, and where the internet is a space like Purge and where there is no fucking consequence, so I'm going to do what I want. Now, when it comes to words and shit like that, or say what I want. And so who is right and who is wrong, who is real and who is not? Because if you do live in a world with no consequence, would you be the same Jonah right now?
Yes, because I have character.
Okay.
Cause my character morals and standards have to do with the fact that I don't want to do those things, not because there's consequences to the things that I choose not to do. Now, consequences inform me, but consequences don't move me, because if that is the case, then I would find loopholes to get off what I really want to get off. And then that means that I'm always this ever evolving, untrustworthy person. Cause I'm going to be me, period. Whether there's a consequence or not. And 9 times out of 10, there's never really a consequence, but I'm still going to stand on my 10 because that's what I believe. Right? So it's
So,
like, for me, right, as my experience in terms of my faith informs me, right? But when you start recognizing that not only does it inform you, but then it changes you, then you realize, like, there is this, okay, fear of doing the wrong thing and what doing the wrong thing and the consequence is. But then there is also this thing that happens within certain people or most people that says, I don't want to do it to begin with. Like, I'm either maturing out of wanting to do certain things, or I just don't even want to be in a position to do those things, which is where you either say, for example, right? I've had run-ins or something like that online. Doesn't mean that after that run-in, I'm not like, shit, I shouldn't have did that. Like, that happens, right? But at the same time, I don't think that if you recognize, okay, these run-ins create this and then that creates that and then that creates that, that you don't either take a moment to say, okay, this is a real place, these are real people, I want to shift. Or some people just say, fuck it, I don't give a damn. And then they just
yeah.
go keep doing it over and over. You get what I'm saying? Like, it
Yeah,
just, yeah.
I get
And
that.
Rashad, there's
Hold on, wait,
always a
hold on, wait. Let's go
consequence.
to the hands real quick because they had their hands up. Let's go, Levita, Torn, and Fresh. Levita, how you feeling?
What's up, Buttercup? How are you?
All good. Another day.
Yeah, for sure. I almost forgot what I was going to say because the voices, you know what I mean? But
Got to get to it.
basically, basically, y- for me at least, part of the reason why Twitter can often be, at least for me, unreal is because a lot of it is a la carte. It's user based, and the content that I share on there and the people that I've procured on my timeline and the people that I follow oftentimes are indicative of my same ideology, right? And so what happens then is you can get a skewed perception of what is actually taking place in the real world, right? And then all of a sudden you start to believe that how you feel and how you think is representative of the majority. So they call that majority illusion, where certain people's opinions seem more prevalent than they actually are. And we see that in these spaces. Some people believe that what they feel and what they think is more important than what it actually is, right? So there's that. And then there is the fact that a lot of people believe that Twitter is by and large very representative of the mass population. And that unfortunately is not the truth. Twitter does not necessarily reflect the views of the majority. Twitter also can create, because of who you might follow, it can also create this kind of sense that there is more outrage and controversy than actually exists in the real world, right? So if you follow, I don't know, whatever pages you follow or whatever the case is, and sometimes it's not even so much that you follow them, because if you understand the algorithm, you know sometimes that it'll throw things on your timeline just to challenge your thought and to create discourse, and also to have you believe that your ideologies are actually true. Um so there's that. And then in a lot of cases, Twitter is dominated by voices of particular people, particular journalists, politicians, celebrities, business leaders, etc. So that can also skew the perception between public discourse and create a disconnect between what is happening on the platform and what is happening in the general public. So aside from all of the shit that comes along with, oh, you wouldn't act like that or you wouldn't approach folks like that, if Twitter is one of your only means of being informed, if Twitter is one of your only means for understanding kind of what is happening in culture, pop culture, the zeitgeist of the news culture, politics, then you will be uninformed, and that is not real, right? So you are now walking around with this uninformed, informed thought process, and you believe that that shit is actually the way the world is, and that's not the truth.
Definitely see that a lot. I think, especially when it comes down to a lot of these different narratives that we talk about and where we get these hits from Twitter or social media. And so I always say, like, what comes first when it comes to like living real life, like social media or real life, because I think that we're getting into a blurred line space. But before we get to touring, it's 1:15, man. I appreciate y'all showing up. Fist in the air for y'all. Repost the space, repost the space, repost the space. Follow the host, follow the folks up here on the stage that's saying some good shit to you, man. The Patreon is in the jumbo. There is a free tier. There is a $5 tier. All the spaces go on Patreon. And I want to give a shout out to Tyler and Bonanno for subscribing to the $5 tier of Patreon yesterday. Fist in the air for y'all. Exclusive content. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Torrin. What's the word? How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. Every time you throw a space, I'm available, man. I try to hop in here, man. And
Appreciate that.
shout out to you for promoting yourself, man. I'm glad to see that. I got to get better at that.
Appreciate that, sir.
All right, so let's get into it. I'm looking at the whoever this was that set this up in the jumbotron. Um, Twitter isn't a real place. That's correct. But what you can benefit from Twitter absolutely is real in the real world. And I'm gonna use myself for an example. It took me a long time to get it to start getting into social media. I came, my background was in broadcast journalism and in print journalism, and I thought that was going to be the future. But what happened was, I came into journalism right about the time when all the protest stuff was going on. And everything that you saw happen with protests was happening online, like almost instantaneously. If something happened to somebody in Baton Rouge, if something happened to somebody in Ferguson, if something happened to somebody in LA or Minneapolis, you got almost real time updates of what was happening. And because I was working in media at that time, I was able to get to those places because the people who were the editors of a lot of these networks were paying attention to what was happening online, and I was ended up going out there. Now, fast forward 10 years later, what has happened now is that careers are made and broken on Twitter. Um, Famous people, not so much like they used to be, are made and broken on Twitter. A lot of these things that happen on Twitter isn't so much about the majority of what people are listening to. Like the sister said, she's right. There is sort of like a skewed narrative that happens on Twitter because narratives that you see on Twitter may not necessarily reflect what's happening in the real world. But I can tell you this right now because I've been in the room and seen it. The people who create influence in media and in entertainment and in everything that becomes popular 3 or 4 months down the road, all those people have interns or they're on Twitter lurking by themselves and paying attention to every single conversation that happens on here. And by the time they get all the information they need, it's become a news story within a month. So I'm saying that to say that if you work Twitter the right way, you can definitely make it beneficial for you. And you can get PR from Twitter that you wouldn't get from anywhere else, even if you sign with an actual PR agency. It depends on how you work it, and it depends on what you do with it, and you got to have a plan. Now, having said all that, because this is such an open forum, and I think me and you have talked about this before, a long time ago, for you to be able to get into a room with somebody like a Cornel West or somebody who was a professor at Harvard or somebody who worked in the entertainment industry or like a Punch or somebody like that or somebody with Kendrick or somebody like Drake, you had to pay your own money to either catch a flight or catch a bus to go up there and hope that you maybe be catch one of these people in the office or something like that. But because everybody's online, everybody's opinion is all heard. And the downside to everybody's opinion being heard is that everybody's opinion is being heard. You get a lot of people who show up on social media, and because they yell the loudest and they make the most noise, they're automatically considered an influencer. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have the best information. That doesn't necessarily mean they know what the hell they're talking about. They just the loudest motherfucker on the street. And like, if a motherfucker strip butt ass naked and get on top of a roof and go to yelling, you gonna pay attention to it. That don't mean he got anything good to say. You're just paying attention to it. It's a spectacle.
So for me, I think that the social media, especially Twitter, and then when it came to DMs, as an artist, that kind of like changed a lot of shit because like you said, niggas just had to camp outside of record labels or find a nigga in the club. Like I told y'all the story of me waiting outside the fence after a Tory Lanez concert to give him my demo. Like that was the way that it was until like this social media and shit. And it's like, oh shit, I got direct access to this motherfucker. I can tweet, I can send them a message, I can put my music or the things that I want in proximity, or on their timeline possibly. Like that shit really changed. And then outside of music, other avenues of entrepreneurship or anything that you want to do, you can put that in front of people that you want to see. And so in my mind, that's where it really shifted to, yes, this is a very real place,
Yeah.
right? Go ahead.
No, you're right. But here's the thing with it. Like I was saying, can you hear me? I'm in
Yeah, yeah.
the flip side of that is it's all about what persona you present, and it's also what you do with it. It's like, look, man, if you know how to work it and you're an artist or you're like me, a journalist, and you know how to talk to people, you know how to network with people, and you don't get in here and act the fool, then yeah, it's very much a really useful tool to be able to get access to people. But just like you were in here, or like me, I'm in here, the tinfoil hat motherfuckers is in here too, and the motherfuckers with whack mixtapes is in here too. Because you just, it's the truth, And it's like when you do that shit, when you got somebody who's tight and they come in, that's one thing. But then y'all see these people in here every time you make a tweet, somebody coming in spamming you with their shitty ass music, or they coming in here with their crazy ass conspiracy theory. And what that does is somebody who has access to be able to get you somewhere, that makes them cut everybody off. Because I've done it. I'm a journalist. I put my stuff up here every Monday. And every time I do it, here comes somebody with their tinfoil hat. I'm like, man, let me just close the comments, man, because I ain't got time to deal with this shit. So imagine what somebody who's a decision maker does. So I'm just saying all that to say that it's no different than the radio station. It's no different than anything. It just depends on what your skill set is, and if you know how to network and not be a fucking pest and stuff. Now, the other part you were talking about. Now, this is one thing I agree with the other sister that said and what you said earlier. It's a lot of motherfuckers on social media who talk a lot of big shit who ain't got that kind of courage if they was be in the same room with motherfuckers. You know what I mean? That happens a
Yeah.
lot on this app, man. And I look, man. I come from that generation like you don't talk shit that you can't back up. If you ain't ready to go to somebody's house and see what you and back the words you say, motherfuckers don't talk like that. And I know it be motherfuckers on here talking all kind of greasy shit and talking all out the mouth and everything. And I had to start learning how to check myself to stop responding to that stuff because I know they're not really backing that stuff up. And you know, if you pull up on somebody, then that becomes a whole other situation. But that's something that I don't care for because I ain't never been a fan of that coward shit or like talking greasy from somebody from a distance behind a mask or something like that. If you can't say what you got to say up front to somebody, then I don't make no point in doing that online. That's cowardly. But people gonna do it though because they got that, that anonymity
Go
until IP numbers start getting pulled up, and that's gonna be happening soon. You're gonna start seeing more and more of that shit when people start having to deal with their shit.
nasty. Go ahead, Fresh, and then I got a question for y'all.
You know, what's good, brother Torin?
What's up, bro?
You and I are aligned on the mass majority of a lot of things. Um, So, so what I'll say to, when people were talking about, cause it was one brother that's making a lot of sense in the comments, right? And people are talking about consequences and what they're saying is like immediate consequences versus delayed because there are consequences online. People get doxxed every day. We've seen it. People, like you talked about IP addresses, people get traced every day, right? There's people who do things in the real world. Somebody takes a video of them, uploads it online and says, hey, find this person. Somebody finds them and then they send it to their job and they get fired in real life. So like it is a real place. It's just like when people do this comparative analysis about like somebody talking, they wouldn't talk noise in real life. When I was in high school, when cell phones kind of first started popping, people would talk noise on the phone, right? And then they would get pulled up on in real life and they wouldn't be able to back it up. But my thing is that's always been in the human history when there's always been a buffer in front of somebody, they say, see, somebody's going to say they're real. All Twitter does or what any of these measures do is test your perceptive skills because you can receive information. Like Twitter's a tool. You can take a tool and build a house. You can take a tool and bash somebody over the head with it. But it's what you perceive and what your intentions are with the tool. Because I wouldn't have met you, Toran, if it wasn't for this. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have met you and we wouldn't have been able to talk about all the political stances, doing things in the community. I wouldn't have met Cortland and we wouldn't have been able to talk about things and the plan to meet up, in Charlotte to actually like hoop and meet people in real life. I wouldn't have met Jonay. Like, and these are people who live all different walks of life, who live across the pond, who live over here. Like we was in here talking to somebody from London yesterday. I don't think I would have ever spoken to somebody, that lives in London right now and is talking to us.
And
And,
bruh, Mike,
no, not, yeah, it was Mike doing his thing too, but it was another guy. But the fact that he did have some views that we actually agreed on, then some things that were different. So it's like, people can say, I think it just tests your perception because there's absolutely confirmation bias. There's absolutely all those things, that was said. I think Levita was saying absolutely those things can happen, right? But two things can be true, and I think one thing that helps weed that out is the perception to have the wherewithal to understand. You know what? Let me confirm this, or let me go look into this, or whatever, what have you. But to be able to get the ease of information, because we know we know actual media is heavily controlled, right? But then if you go on social media, you can get this raw version that you can go look into it. You should not believe one thing by seeing one source. And Brother Torin, being in media, I know you purport that. Like you're supposed to confirm your sources, you're supposed to go confirm your information, you're supposed to anchor your arguments or your viewpoints to actual factual reality and things that nature as close to it as possible. And I think with Twitter, it just tests your perception. Because I think this is people. The reason why I say it's real is because I want to know who somebody is. And I'm gonna wrap it up without their inhibitions. Just like Jonay said, I'm not governed by the law. I'm governed by my morals, right? I'm governed by the fiber of who I am, right? Because that's what your character is, who you are when no one's looking. If you only follow the law because no one's looking or no one's there to do it, that means you would cut corners or you would do things. And typically in other places in your life, you're going to cut corners and do certain things. That's why when she was talking to Rashad about consistency and holding yourself accountable and all these things are found within. Like these things aren't things that you acquire, externally. These things are found within and you start to see them in other places or seep into other places within your life. So that's why I say it is, because people are always going to try to cut corners and do things behind the scenes, or always going to try to say or do wild stuff. Like there are people who troll in real life. Like we call them class clowns. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those were people who did.
Yeah. Well, and Fresh, can I just say one small thing to something you said? I don't mean to cut you off. I want to just give a small, not pushback, but just like a little nudge to a small point that was made, right? I want us to be real. We're adults. I have seen on this social media app people play with people's kids. You playing with somebody's kids online because you know nobody's going to do nothing. Because in real life, people get killed for playing with someone's children and family. You get what I'm saying? So, like, I agree and I understand that people believe, oh no, there's real life consequences online. No, there's not. Not really. Like, losing jobs, yes, because those are like, oh, you're racist if someone exposes you. But I'm talking about the things that we've seen as black people in these spaces. There are people that have played with people's kids, they families, they wives, their women, their men. That does not happen in real life. You know for a fact you ain't gonna sit up there and post and play with nobody's kids. You get
Hold
what I'm
on, so
saying?
no, hold on. Let me
And the
ask y'all a
only reason
question.
you doing it is because you know there's no reality. You're not going to play like that in real life because people know there is no consequence to me playing with your kids. And I've seen this on multiple occasions and people lean into the fact that it's not because it's something to joke about or laugh and walk away. It's no, you know that I can't do nothing to, or that person cannot physically do outside of report your page, which they do, try to get you offline, which people do. So yes, but it's to your point, Fresh, it is the mental makeup of some people that do this cognitive dissonance. That's really what I'm talking about, Fresh, right? The cognitive dissonance of people. So it's either one of two things, right? Cognitive dissonance, or we are intermingling, and I say this all the time, we are intermingling with real life 5150s on this bitch. These are some real life schizophrenic,
7:30.
bipolar, issued out people with real life mental health problems fucking around on this internet thinking that they can do stuff and say stuff and play with people, expose people's kids and families off of somebody you not liking the way a nigga talk to you on a social media app where you can close the
Can I
phone.
respond to
Hold
that?
on. Let me ask y'all a question because I think we are all, and I see you, Patience. Appreciate you up here. Um, we are all speaking from a space in where we know what life is without this shit, right? And so I think that's a very interesting space to speak from, as opposed to I have two kids that's 6 and 10, and my daughter asked me what did I look at you on YouTube when I was her age, and we didn't
Oh,
have no
that's
fucking
cute.
YouTube, right? And so
That's
being able,
cute.
like, do y'all think that the idea of realness is being more and more outdated in a digital first world, right? Because I think that is because we can't stop this shit. We can't stop AI. We can't stop the understand. Japan just made a motherfucking uh shit where they can download Netflix, the entire Netflix catalog in a second. Like, we can't stop this shit. So, like, when we speak about, realness and how we viewed it, there is going to be generations after us that don't view it that way. Do y'all think that? Do y'all believe that? Do y'all understand that? Go
Percent.
ahead, Patience.
I disagree.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. I agree. I mean, because even when we were kids, like we said things to our parents that we didn't quite understand. I didn't know about, the little rotating phone, and until later, I grew up with the buttons. So, the thing I was going to say about Twitter not being real, to an extent, I agree with Jonay that people do come on here and it becomes the wild, wild west because they believe there are no consequences. But a lot of times people have been humbled by thinking there are no consequences to Twitter. Like, I get what you're saying. But it ain't that sweet. Like, I don't know if y'all know, but I've been on Twitter for years, y'all. I've had Twitter since like 2010. There was this girl, her name was Darth Vinny, and she used to come on Twitter talking crazy. And one time she got caught in the Applebee's and was publicly embarrassed. It was so bad because everyone saw how big she was. She actually lost like 150 pounds because of Twitter. The Meet Me in Temecula thing. That was about two dudes fighting, meeting up, linking up. Like, that's a real thing. And another story, like, y'all know somebody from Twitter. His child had just died. His son had just got hit by a car and passed away. And a Twitter user had was making fun of him, a guy who runs spaces. And he was surprised that this man flew to his house down here and threatened him, had a gun, and the man was calling his father, begging for his father was begging for his son's life. Like, Twitter is sweet, but it's not that sweet. Some people here
Right.
actually come, and yeah, it ain't that hard. Like, people be like, "Oh, you got a VPN, baby." A VPN ain't nothing but an IP address, and an IP address is nothing but a tunnel. If that tunnel is not infallible, that can't be penetrated. Like, your IP address is behind that peer-to-peer VPN tunnel, so it's not that hard to get. Yeah, it's a bit of work, but it's not that hard to find your IP if they wanted to, or to even find you. We just witnessed a murder because of YouTube beef. Like,
That is true.
Oh
That is
yeah,
true.
I
like,
did see
bro,
that. Yeah.
it's like I said, I get what you're saying because there's no immediate consequence, and I think that's, I don't know. On one hand, I feel
Yeah.
like people kind of
And
Oh, I'm
I
gonna
will,
land it here. I'm gonna land it
yeah,
here.
no, patience. You know what? And I appreciate you saying that. So let me reframe.
Hold on. Let me land it,
There
Jonah. You done got
are,
a few. Let's get it.
there are.
Let's
You
let it
right.
get it.
You
So,
right. Hmm.
it's weird because we don't embrace like social norms, social rules on social media. Like, it's weird to just come up to a person just like disagree with them while they're having like a conversation with. That's weird in real life. But we allow it on
Yeah,
social
exactly.
media. So I think that, but I don't know, because at the same time, social norms can't be enforced virtually unless by the entity itself or the government. So I don't know who we can blame it. That's why I was going to loop it back to your point. And then you can
No,
respond, Jose.
no, I like
I
how
don't
you
know how
said
we
it.
can enforce social rules
That's what you
virtually.
just said
Like,
is exactly what it is. How do you reinforce social norms? And I think you probably helped me to reframe what I'm really trying to communicate. You're right. There are real life consequences that can happen. But I think my point is when people are in this troll bag, they're not thinking about that. They are thinking exactly what you said. Oh, this is just Twitter. I'm gonna get my shit off. It's like, that nigga had time, money, and resources to fly and come with his and you know what I'm saying? He was ready to get active. And the people that end up getting active in person, what? All this, because then those people that do all of that, what do they say, patients? All
all
this
that
over
over
Twitter?
Twitter. I
No,
got this
yeah,
did that
all
the
of that
other
over
day.
Twitter. Yeah, because they did it. So what you're saying is the effect, which is the actual consequence. You're right. I think they don't think of the consequence before I think that's more so my point. They don't think that there is before they start doing
Well,
and
there was
saying
a
the shit
guy
that
who
they
was
say.
just, they were doing the Drake and Kendrick. They going back and forth. And the guy was DMing them like, yeah, pussy, come out here. Here's my address. Meet me here. And the guy pulled up. And then when he pulled up, he was like, aha, I trolled you. Like, again, in real life,
See?
that's not, that
Yeah.
doesn't, if you doing all
That,
that tough talk and a nigga like, what's up? And you like, oh, bro, I was just playing. People gonna be like, you
mm-mm,
pussy. Like, it doesn't, I was gonna say, it
mm-hmm.
doesn't translate online. And I think that's why we had the issue that we had with people just coming on here saying anything.
I agree.
So
Hold on.
niggas can't joke in
Go
real
ahead. You
life.
guys go.
Hold on. Wait. Let's go to Torin. I think Cortland Fresh 10.
It's kind of
Well, let's go to 10 because 10 ain't spoke yet. So
all right,
Torin
cool.
is in 10.
All right, I'm gonna be real quick. It's kind of funny this conversation is going down this road because the first time that I realized that um, social media yapping can get you in a situation was when Nipsey got killed. There was this guy on here who used to always, first of all, he was a male feminist, so that's a camouflage predator anyway. But the dude said something slick about Nipsey once the word got out that he had got killed, right? And this was somebody who worked in on the West Coast. And
Oh, I know who you talking about.
yeah, I ain't
Yeah.
finna say no names, but from what I heard, um, once that went around, and you remember, man, people was really literally grieving about that dude. You know what I mean? Especially on the West Coast, man. That people had love for that dude, and he tried to rope his death into some sort of like feminist rhetoric, right? And say something about, well, he got what he got, or he deserved that. And from what I heard, some brothers out there, some of his people out there, found out where dude was at, and I don't think nothing happened. But they had, you remember on Straight Outta Compton? Remember when dude got on the school bus?
I only seen that movie once. I don't remember.
Well, if you've seen the movie, you know what it was. And I've heard the conversation with something like that. And I know a couple.
Oh, when he's telling him to get off the bus.
Yeah. So what I heard,
Yeah.
what I heard was that all I know was like a couple of days later, dude put an apology up on Twitter. So I'm just saying, sometimes you got to be very, very careful what you say. Now, the point I want to make is like you were saying, Rashad. Most of the people in here, I'm assuming, are in their late 20s, early 30s, some of them 40s. We keep forgetting that there's a whole generation of people, man. Social media, as we know, is about 20 years old. There's a whole generation of kids who have grown up with nothing but social media to the point where they don't know reality from social media. And I used to think that was an exaggeration, but it really is real. One of my family members, we went to see went to visit them for Christmas, right? And they got a 15-year-old son. And I'm telling you right now, man, we was there for like 3 hours. Dude might have said 2 words. The rest of the time, he was sitting over in the corner in the fetal position, damn near, with a headset on his head, with his with a helmet on his head, playing games and stuff like that. It was like some Matrix shit. And I'm just looking at him like, well, damn. You know, the house could burn up. You could sit in here and cook, man, because you wouldn't even know. But that's a real thing, man. He's 15. So imagine somebody who's been socialized on Twitter and socialized on social media in their 20s, 22, 23. They don't know anything else than being on here. Nothing's really showed them anything other than that yet. So that's why you got to take that into consideration, too. There really is a generation of people out here whose whole life is like Ready Player One. All they know is like the virtual world. So there's something happening, too.
Go ahead, 10, and then we got Fresh and Cortland. I'm gonna ask y'all something. Go ahead.
What up, nigga?
What's the word? How you feeling?
I'm straight, nigga. The internet definitely a real place for shit show. I don't see how it's not a real place. I think what is happening is depending on your environment on the internet, it cannot seem real. It's a motherfucking community of people our age that fight every day, get on the space and go fight again. Okay, every day. The shit
Shout
really,
out to Houston.
shout out
Wake
to
it up.
Houston, right?
Wake it up.
These people get on this bitch to have, they be having sex, they be having babies, they be getting married. Like people be coming on this bitch doing lives together. This shit realer than a motherfucker, man. I don't like, and I think what our generation is having a hard time accepting is this is the new reality, and we're trying to hold on to what we grew up on and not trying to move with the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The definition of realness might be outdated. We might need to update what realness means, especially when we're going to have this generation, and especially generations after that only know this shit.
Like, think about it. That nigga King, them niggas that was beefing with King Von was getting on Twitter talking about murders.
Yeah. In
like,
4K.
it
This shit
don't
don't
get no
delete.
realer than that. Like, I don't, like, yeah, we just slid on y'all and tweet about it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that shit was crazy.
mean,
Them niggas out there.
Get back.
Go ahead,
I just disagree. Uh, things do evolve, yes, but old ways
why BB
still.
talking to me like he father time?
I mean, I ain't talking to you.
if it wasn't for touring, no, never mind. Never mind. I was about to say if it wasn't for touring, he'd be the elder statesman. Go
No,
ahead.
I just disagree. I don't have kids, so I think a lot of shit boiled down to teaching. Yes, the evolution of AI and all that other shit is I think it's separate when it comes to reality of life and the fucking real world conversations, real world dealing with people, uh, relationship with the neighbors or whatever it is, that dynamic, business, et cetera, et
Yeah, this
cetera.
can affect your life.
It's 1 second, brother. Um,
Oh, brother.
I don't think in the real world things are that different from back 20, 30 years, 40 years ago. You still need to communicate somehow. Yes, there's methods now that are evolved where you could go online in your hand. You could type talk or whatever with devices. That's probably what's changed and it's going to continue to evolve. But at the end of the day, I still think interpersonal relationships are going to matter to whatever degree. Yes, but I don't denounce that it's AI.
You breaking up, DB.
Fuck,
You breaking up, DB.
my bad.
Oh, thank God.
Go ahead. Was it
Fucking
Fresh or
mountains, my
Cortland?
fault.
I think it was Fresh, then Cortland, and then we got No Hove and Watcher.
Yeah, no, I keep hearing, the juxtaposition of, our reality when we were coming up versus the kids who've come up with only social media or things like that. What is being described is balance, right? Like specifically for millennials, right? I'm about to turn 34. So one thing I'll say is we had the perfect balance of analog and digital. right? Like, I remember, the Dewey Decimal System and all these things of that nature. But then I also remember going to computer class and learning things. And I remember when MySpace came out and all these things, like how it shifted, the social norms and things of that nature. And things shift as the times go. Now we're still anchored by certain things, but things do shift as to what the norm is. People are becoming multi-millionaire billionaires off of social media, off of digital platforms and things of that nature. So that's why I'm saying, like, the things you're saying were always there. The things we're seeing on social media were always there. They just presented different. Like, the people who troll were class clowns, right? Like, the people who were like the people who were like socially awkward and things of that nature. Y'all called them weird. Like, oh, they're just weird, or this and that. Like, when I was coming up, the self-contained folks, shout out to them. Like, they were in a different wing within the high school. Like, you rarely saw them and things of that nature. But now they also have social media, so you're seeing also some of their thoughts. So I'm saying, like, all those things, all those sects, not sex, the sections, I should have said, or factions were always there. Um, and to Janae, what Janae was talking about earlier is, I think if it's what caused, like, where we've pivoted to right here. I worked in DSS and I now work in the school system in administration. And one thing I will say is, people do try to play with people's kids in real life. Like, people do try these things in real life. And I was an investigator, so I was frontline DSS. Like, people have actually pulled guns, tried to come up to DSS with guns, all types of things, and have tried to play with people's kids, tried to call people out, tried to fight kids. Like, people do these things in real life, right? You're just now hearing about it on a mass scale because it's on social media. So it's not just covered by the local York County news or whatever. Like, now you can get on social media and be like, yo, somebody really did that, or somebody really did these things. And like I said, I want to see who people are when you remove their inhibitions. All social media is a buffer. Right? Like, there's always been methods of having a buffer, but all social media is a buffer. Like, people was on dang sex chat lines back in the day, being who they really are. That's what they really want to say, but they have to pay for it, right? Like you said, you're seeing OnlyFans, all types of stuff on here. Like, these are who these people really are, right? They just try to have buffers within certain places within their life, but that's actually who they are. So that's why I'm saying I think social media is real, though people can have a confused sense of reality, just like they have a confused sense of reality and inflated sense of reality in real life. And we've talked to these people. So, that's why I say that Twitter is just the apparatus. It's not what is actually conducting reality. It's still people on here conducting reality. Go ahead, brother Court.
Court,
That's
then, no hold and watcher.
yeah, no, that's why I said, like, that's why I made my comment. Like, the benefits of Twitter, social media, not just Twitter, just social media in general, right, are real. You can make tangible money off of this app, any other social media app. You can make tangible friends and build tangible connections and relationships. However, comma, there are also tangible consequences to the shit you do, right? Like, you see motherfuckers on here every single day get into a conversation. It can be a simple conversation like this, and somebody keep a level head, and if somebody says something in disagreement, somebody don't understand it, somebody don't get it, or somebody getting their feelings and getting their chest a little too tough, and they start throwing that bitch word around, or they start insulting people. People don't take that. I don't care if it's on social media or if it's in real life. People get real tough behind a keyboard. The consequences for that are really real. We see it every day, right? And so I disagree with there's no consequences. We see it every day. We see motherfuckers get shot, motherfuckers get stabbed, motherfuckers get beat on, right? Like, every day off of what they did on social media. And it affects their real life, right? Like, they lose a job, somebody lose a job or whatever. So, like, this is a very real place, but like I said, it's also a real place filled with fantastical personalities. It's a real place filled with fake people. So, like, you got, like, it's a mixed bag. It's a terrible mixed bag, like, of this person can be like the realest nigga online. You meet him in real life and he ain't really about that, right? It can be the most meek person who be super respectful, right? Or whatever. And in the real life, he'll really step on shit. Like, that's that's the whole, like, that's the major, like, play on this, like, social media shit. You don't know who you talking to. Like, it's motherfuckers on here that they don't say much. They right, they real cool or whatever, and then they'll fuck your whole life up. Like, you step on them. Like, so, like, that's the reason why, like, I feel like a lot of times, like, we can enforce social norms. People choose not to, right? You can be respectful, right? You can talk to a person with some sense, but people choose not to because, like John, they said, they don't see the consequences, or they don't feel the consequences because it ain't happened to them yet.
Appreciate that. Go ahead, no Hove. Then we got Watcher, and I got a question for y'all.
I do want to say this because people act like these behaviors just popped up because now you have social media and Twitter, Instagram in your phone. But this has been like a series of events, even like back when talk shows were popular, like your Maury's, your Jerry Springers, your Oprah's, like people have been displaying these behaviors and patterns all of life. So I don't understand when people say like, oh, you hop on your phone and it's crazy, like it's a whole nother world. Like, no, we've been seeing it. People have been on the radio stations going back and forth. People have popped up on people on the radio stations.
100%.
Everybody know the
You ain't
Breakfast Club
lying.
blew up based on Ray J's whole rant about Fab on the Breakfast Club. Like people have been displaying like it's embedded in us. And a lot of people got to act like they don't like to be entertained by this because there's a mix. There's like a fine balance. And I don't think a lot of people have that balance. And that's why it's so like off course and behind a screen. You don't really have an intuity or intuition, or you can't really grasp things that you would in person. But like people act like even all the way back to Rome, like people versus a lion. Like this kind of behavior is embedded in humans. A lot of people like to distraught that or try to run away from it and say like, oh, we're so much better, so much above. It's like, this has been a long series of things. It's nothing new. It's just that now it comes in a matter of seconds, a matter of things. And there's no privacy anymore. So you can go online and you can figure anything about anybody. But a lot of people need to understand is like this whole victim mentality of like, oh, I'm a victim. People are weird because they sought off. It's like you have the responsibility to have whatever you put online a timeline. So whatever you give is what people get to. And a lot of people feel like, oh, I should be so free. I can say whatever. It's like everything has a consequence. Now, it might be not in the consequence you would like it in, but again, you have the ability to not put your banking online, but you still bank online. You have the ability to go in the grocery store, but you still buy your groceries online. So this whole thing where it's like, oh, I'm being invaded, oh, I'm being this, is like you put the information out for somebody else to trace you. So you have to be more cognitive of what you put online.
Go ahead, Watcher.
Appreciate
What's the
that.
word? How you feeling?
I'm all right. And yourself?
All good, brother.
Yeah, peace to the room. Y'all got a good space going. Two things. I often say that for everybody here on X, Twitter, what have you, especially for those who are in spaces and actually jump on stage and grab a mic, like specifically, one thing I know for a fact everybody has in common is that we're all conversationalists. Like you're not you would never enter into this arena, hop on a stage, come on, spaces if you were not at your core conversationalist. And obviously as adults we recognize that when you're communicating with people, lots of other things can come from that. So I'm not shocked, and I don't think anybody who happens to be a conversationalist should be shocked with the outcomes of dialogue or you know what I mean, or interacting with people. Like you should mind your words, say what you mean what you say, sort of things, right? Operate in a fashion that's like, top shelf. Obviously a lot of foolishness happens on the app, but anyway, my main point is to say that what we share in common, in spite of the outcomes, is that everybody on here is a conversationalist. The other thing I wanted to offer is like just specific to the title about the realness. I think that and I know it's happening often. It's a dangerous thought to consider or to put forth the idea that, this digital world is not real, right? Or that like realness is outdated. To suggest that reality is outdated, it's a dangerous thought to approach. And here's why I say that: because once you start saying that reality is outdated, then what you are saying is that God ain't real. And I know to be the truth that's not the case. Not to make the room a spiritual or religious conversation, but that's what it all boils down to. Like that'll be the end result of that conversation. If you were to accept the idea that realness is outdated, if you were to accept the idea that reality is not useful any longer, and that this new thing we have going on online, AI, so forth and so on, all these new tools and iterations are now reality. If you were to accept that and suggest that reality is no longer a necessity and that it's outdated, essentially what you are saying is what man has created is now the dominant force and is your God.
Well,
And
see, I
it's
only say
last
that.
sentence. It's a dangerous
100.
path to travel down when you begin to accept that as something that's suitable to trade back and forth in conversation.
So I only say that, and I want to speak to your point and no host point, right? Um, in all honesty, right? When we talk about authenticity on this social media aspects and shit like that, all it is curated aesthetic honesty, right? Because for the most part, we're only posting our wins anyway, right? And so is it because it's curated? Is that still considered real? Right? I think we just had the Love Island shit and where everybody's going crazy for Love Island. But step back, this is all a fucking production, right? And so
Right.
that's kind of like the microcosm of what social media is. Is it quote unquote real if you only posting wins and things, you know, the best times of your
Hmm.
life in the first place, or is it just aesthetics?
Can I answer that, Rashad,
Go
or
ahead.
my POV from that? I don't know who that was that just spoke,
Watcher.
but Watcher said a lot of good stuff, and I hope we all like maybe just take before we rebut it, like take time to think about what he was saying, because some of what that is leads into this point. The fact that we believe we know people based off of what they post is the problem. I could see Rashad post whatever Rashad wants to post. I still don't mean that I know who Rashad is. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I fuck with y'all. Y'all don't know me like that. Those that know me are the people that I let in on a different level. And that is because people say, well, I know that. No, you don't. You know what I give you. And what I give you is what I choose to. And when you try to stretch beyond what I choose to give you to find and create your own narratives about who you think I am, you're now creating your own reality of who you think I am. So for example, the Love Island shit, right? Watching that show, the reason why this season has gotten so much pushback when it comes to the fan base is because the fan base was acting weird as fuck. Because we saw what happened on the show and then started saying who these people were in real life. You don't know them. This is where parasocial dynamics are not the norm. Y'all don't know these people. You can have opinions. You can have POV. We could talk about celebrities and people we don't know as the basis to conversation, but you don't know them for real. So when you get into, is this the new this? Is this the new that? There are some of what NoHo said, which I think is a fair point, is well, okay, well, if you have a belief system, are you going to remove certain levels of information from certain digital platforms? You should. If you have certain beliefs about access, which is how some people choose to have different levels of access for different things. For example, Rashad, you chose to use your naming convention over here because that's what you chose to do because you didn't want to go by your legal name, right? But that does not then say someone gets the opportunity to go search for you when you're not giving them what it is that you want to give them. And now you're getting into a weird space because now you're trying to connect my reality in your mind. You get what I'm saying, Rashad?
Yeah.
So it's like what Rashad County Boy Solo chooses to give us. We need to take that in and we use what he gives us as the level of access that he's willing to give us. And that's it. So when I'm seeing a TV show, or I'm gonna be honest with you, that is a big reason why I stopped commenting about the podcast that we all watch, is because now this stuff is getting into people thinking my POV is trying to dictate that person in real life. I don't know them. And I'm basing this off characterizations that I'm seeing because that's all I know. So I'm going to base my opinion off of what I know, not what is behind the scenes and this is what's really going on. Well, you didn't give me what's really going on. I'm going off what I saw. I'm going off what I'm seeing. I'm going off what you give me. I'm going off what this social media app is saying. And I don't need to then make complete character judgments. I could just say this, what you're giving is what this is. And I think it's similar to, like you said, reality TV. I think it's similar to space hosts or whatever the case may be. It just gets kind of sketchy when it goes beyond that. And then we try to make these larger assessments and try to start putting the pieces together of people we don't know.
Go ahead. I think it's Fresh. Go ahead, Fresh. Or no, Watcher,
Appreciate it.
did you have your
Appreciate it.
hand up?
Appreciate. Oh, I didn't.
Go ahead, Fresh. And then we got
I
Twan. And then we got
appreciate it.
Grandma.
Appreciate it. But to Janae's point, because the Watcher did make a lot of good assertions. But to Janae's point, like I said, I think this is just a buffer. Like people are gonna make conclusions. So if you go to church, right, the conclusion that if you go to church is typically you are invested in some way, shape, or form in this faith or belief system, right? But we know some people go to church for the tradition of it, right? Like they don't actually believe, right? They just went because their grandmama and them went, whatever, what have you, and how they live outside of church, even though they respect the sanctity of the church house, how they live outside of church is actually who they are. We know a lot of hood niggas that go to church and will put the suit on and will not be in there acting a fool and will be able to, how you doing, brother, and all these things. And as soon as they get up out there, they finna go light up. They finna go do what it, like, so I think that it's just a buffer. And that's all social media is, because people are going to make assumptions either way, right? Based off what you offer them, even within certain friendships, which is where I was going earlier about the level of friendships, because inner circle is typically going to have more intimate details and or been in more intimate situations within your life to where you can't, because we hear people in marriages say, I never really knew him, right? Or we hear people say quite often, you never really know a person until they get in that situation. You may think you do because it's what they offer you, right? And that's even character, right? Character is based on the consistency of the consistency of what this person has given, right? Or what this person has purported. So it's typically hard to say that that's not who they are, but it's not impossible. So that's why I'm saying I know people who are friends who don't know each other's, like, who are friends at a banal level who don't know each other's name. Like, we know him as Tone. This man's whole name could be like Bartholomew, but you've known him as Tone for
Exactly.
For
15,
years,
you know what I
you talking about
mean?
you could know for
For
years.
15 for 15 years, and y'all been hooped together, y'all gone to the club, y'all been at engagement party, all types of stuff. And it's like, that's Tone, bro. And it's like, bro, your name is Bartholomew, bro. So it's like, I just think Twitter is just the next step in that buffer. But I think it is real life because, like I said, I want to see where people, and I don't want to ever compare it to reality TV, because we know since after Real World that it's a lot of this stuff is scripted, or it's at least a scripted situation, right? Even if they are allowing them to paraphrase or allowing them, some free range, it's a scripted situation as to where, like, I want to see what somebody says when, when their inhibitions are removed, right? That's because that's who you really are. Like,
Yeah. So that,
how I speak on here, like, I'm saying, brother, and this and that, that's how I speak offline. Like, I met up with a few people, we've gone to work out, all types of stuff. And that's like, I know it's a funny thing, but like, even like down to height, like, I'm not going to say my height is something different than what it really is online, because that's not who I am. Like, I don't care to lie about certain things.
no, I'm
I
gonna
care.
get that off every time. I ain't gonna lie.
Right, right, right. I'm just saying, but some people who would do that. But there's also people who will lie in real life.
But hold on,
There's people who will be
I
like,
want y'all to think about the question that I put in the jumbo. Is curated authenticity still authenticity? Because I do think that that is a space in where we are in, for all of us, right? We don't put every detail of our life on here. And for the most part, I think that the things that we put on here are skewed. As far as a positive, we want to be looked at a certain type of way. So I just wanted y'all to think about that question and answer that when it's your time to speak. But go ahead, Torin, and then we got Grandma.
I think that's actually a really good segue, man, because I can speak to that really well. Like Fresh said, I work in journalism. My government name is in my Twitter profile. That's my actual face. And I'm on here. I originally got on here because I wanted this to be an extension of my journalistic work and everything. But over time, a lot of my work has been leaving here, and I feed people over to my work through Twitter because this is where my audience is. Now, to answer the question, I think it just depends on how authentic and how artificial your image really is. Like, for example, like I said, I have a public facing profile. For the most part, even when I'm in spaces and the spaces get heated, I still kind of put on my journalist cap and I kind of be objective about stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to show you every single detail of my life. Like, I've never spoken about my family on here outside of being very vague. If I'm out somewhere, I'm not finna take no pictures of me with a drink in my hand if I'm trying to talk to some girl or something like that. It just depends on what you do. Now, for some people, going back to what I said earlier, they live their entire life online and their authenticity is curated, but it is authentic to them because they don't know any other way to be. And I think that's part of the difference. You know what I mean? If you grew up with a family and you grew up with a sense of the real world, like if you held down a job, if you had a family, if you had to go out here and just basically do for yourself, you may come to social media with a different personality than you will if it's somebody who's not done it. Now, having said that, I'm seeing more and more of a lot of people who are in their 30s and 40s who are starting to create these curated images and these avatars of themselves that have nothing to do with who they really are. So I just think it really depends on, do you know yourself? How much of yourself are you willing to put out there in front of the world? And how much is your curated image that you put out in the world close to who you are. And so I think that's really what it is. You know what I mean? And there's a very small number of people who do that. But I think most people do that to a degree. Like everybody curates themselves. I mean, you don't go out. I hope you don't go outside in your house to take out the trash in your drawers. You put on a pants and a shirt to go out and do that. Not because you feel like doing it, because you know the world out there. You just everybody does it to a degree. And I just think the distance of social media gives people a lot more ammunition to create this curated image of themselves that nobody can really know until they either get caught up in something or somebody who knows and puts them out there. So yeah, it just depends on you.
Appreciate that. Go ahead, Grandma.
What's good? What's good? Peace to the room. Love all my black people. Y'all have made so many beautiful points. I'm know to the good adults point. Being a conversationalist is absolutely key, and also understanding the art of conversation and understanding. So for me, Twitter is absolutely a real place to a specific degree because the digital landscape is no more real than an RPG you play on your game. It's a built up persona with other people that can either be a very real person or a machination of other things that have already been in existence. So for me, I believe the thing, especially us as like millennials, a lot of us are in our 30s and have children. So for us, the idea of realness is us going outside, growing up with all these other things, and then the generation behind us having a much more, I'd say, appreciated value in the digital landscape. Not to say that they don't value the actual IRL metric of things, but I believe it's a very well, yeah, maybe a more exaggerated precedent of the appreciated value of like the digital scape because realness is it will always be there. That will never not be a thing. And I believe people in the appropriate point of authority will always be able to have that precedent be set. People that speak with common sense, sound mind, and can set forth a proper point of discernment and be able to show that to people in their peer group and younger. And I believe that authenticity all can be curated, but it also depends on, how you view curation. Because your parents curate your life to a certain degree. Your community curates aspects of your life. Your friend groups can help curate that as well. So it's all in proximity and all what you deem, authentic to you because, we all live in an algorithm. That algorithm is proximity to community people near us that share like-minded views, interests, and likes. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely believe that, to what Torrin said, the real life benefits are so tangible because it can give you so many breakthroughs into your real life that this cannot be just left in the idea of fakeness. Now, aspects about it are Jerry Springer. It is scripted. It is fucking fake. It is the real world. But that's nice percentage that generally affect the real life cannot be just watered down, because to what Jonay said, and I believe Fresh spoke beautifully to it as well. Who you are when no one's looking is a testament to how you act in your decision. And
Yeah,
I,
I think I do.
Mhm.
I do think we pick and choose though,
Yeah,
right? I will, especially when it comes to music, black culture in music, and where we're looking for a level of authenticity from our favorites, especially when it comes to rap, in
yeah,
where we hold their feet to the fire
yes,
of you have to be everything that you say. You have to do
yeah,
everything that you say you did. It can't be
yeah,
no chink in your armor. You can't be
yeah,
soft. You can't be this. You got,
yeah,
and even with that, in my opinion, I've always felt like that was a level of curated
see,
authenticity. Am I out here doing drills? No,
yeah,
but do I know niggas that can do it and
yeah,
I can speak on it? Yeah, and
yeah.
in our world, our community, when it comes to hip hop, we call that fake shit.
Yeah, see, but the thing that I've learned to understand is that there is a assumed position and mentality of homogeneity amongst people that believe that realness is the same for everybody across the board. So now your realness plays into the reality of how you function daily as a person and in the life of your peers and family. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like you said, niggas that sell drugs and do drugs. I sure enough do. I know niggas that did a whole bunch of reckless shit and a bunch of righteous shit. Now, my level of authenticity in regards to them is how they stood in that, accepted consequences of that, or if not, oh, sorry, misspeaking. Yeah, how they stood in action to that and accepted what came with it versus them looking for a way out, cop out, and trying to deviate from it to create another persona. And I believe that is the bleeding effect of being an online, chronically online. That's why we have that term, chronically online. It literally creates a weird cascading Mandela effect over the perception of life, and it blinds people to be able to like create proper discernment for themselves and those around them. And being chronically online is one of the worst aspects of a young adult's, let alone a child's life. And we see it every day. There's a lot of socially awkwardness. People that, peaked in
Yeah,
high
putting them
school.
tablets in your baby face. Come on,
Yeah,
stop it.
yeah,
Stop.
I've seen
yeah.
babies
But
babies as strong as be
I'll
holding
land with
phones
that.
and stuff.
Hold
But
up,
yeah,
hold
I'll
up,
land with that.
wait.
I want to hit some more points. Go ahead.
Go ahead, John A.
Yeah. Is curated authenticity still authenticity? Yes. And the reason why I say that is because if you're curating from an authentic place, it's still authenticity. Period.
Nice point.
Um, that's just very simple in my opinion. Curation is essentially being selective. And if I choose to selectively show you my highs because y'all niggas don't deserve my lows, then that's not me being inauthentic. That's me saying that's not your business. And the problem with people realizing that that's not your business is you feel like you're entitled and you're not, because I don't know you. Simple. I mean, that sounds kind of like direct, but that's really what it is. Now, if you want to then create persona, you get what I'm saying, Rashad? And then now you take that persona and then you try to flip that and make that a brand and then flip that and then make that something else. Now we're getting away from authenticity and into, okay, what you trying to do? Like now you're trying to create as if it's almost kind of like I'm giving you what I want to give you about my personal life, right? And then people buy into it. And then people say, damn, Janae, like you really got that. And then you try to sell me something to where I can say, well, if you want to live my life like this, you can buy this. Now that's inauthentic because you know for a damn fact that's not what it really is. You're just giving us what you want to give us because that is your choice. And now you're trying to flip it for profit or some sort of gain by leaning into the nuance of what you're not saying. But curated authenticity is absolutely authentic as long as it is authentic to you. I feel the biggest problem is the entitlement. Y'all don't gotta know shit that I don't tell you. And what I tell you is what I want. Simple. I mean, it's very, very simple. It's my social media. It is my profile. It's my page. These are my words. This is my perspective. You're not entitled to get nothing I don't tell you. Simple. And then that's where people say, I don't know y'all niggas. So then we get back to well, is this real or fake? No, it's as real as I want it to be. Cause this is my shit.
Hey
Simple.
man, heavy on this my shit. Heavy on it. No Hope, did you answer the question? I wanted to get your point of view before we go to watch here. As
Do
far
you
as is
mind saying
curated.
everybody had so many different opinions, and I would just engage in the conversation? Do you mind saying it again, real quick?
Is curated authenticity still authentic?
I like to say this. I feel like people have a responsibility of giving both sides of everything. So just like in music, when people highlight, like a lot of like, oh, what they do, how they trap and all of this. Well, if you're going to brag about trapping, also brag about the other side, also brag about the incarcerations, like the side effects of that. I like to tell people that social media is always a highlight reel. I use Instagram as a highlight reel. I'm always going to pinpoint my most fun times. But then again, I'm very vocal as if on Twitter, if like I go on a space and we're having engaging in deep conversation, then I'll reveal that other side of the story. But again, that's all in my discretion and how much I want to reveal of myself, because once you reveal it, you can never take it back. It's audio forever. So you just always have to stand on that and remain on that. That's why for me, when people pick and choose like the character, I don't really subscribe to that, because like I can't take somebody serious playing the character all day. And then I engage you in real life or this, like I will just always look at you funny. That's just my being. But again, I feel like people have a responsibility of what they showcase, especially if like people like right now, the soft girl era life thing is just basically just soft prostitution. But again, girls aren't being vocal about that on TikTok or on Twitter or on Instagram. They're not telling you that side of what comes with this. So again, I think that's dangerous to young girls, and I have nieces, so I don't like to display that. I like to display what I do in my lifestyle, how I got there. People have questions, I let them know. But again, it's certain things I feel like people have the responsibility to tell that side of the story. And if they don't, I feel like they're just as wrong as people that come in online and bullshit about a life.
Okay, go ahead, Watcher, and then I got a question.
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of what folks had just mentioned a moment ago. I will say this, and this kind of I've been running with it a while, but then the phrase came out in the Clips album the other day where Homeboy said, let your mess be your message, right? And apparently it's been a phrase around for a long time. I didn't know that, but it's neither here nor there. The point being is, I think that's far more important, or not. Let me not say far more important. I think that really should be the utility of your curation, right? You can go ahead and curate, right? You know what I mean, everything's not everybody's business. I dig it, But whatever you are putting out there as your message here on social media, particularly, and I think this definitely kind of falls a little bit more on the shoulders of men than women. It's a different conversation for that part, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, let your mess be your message, and so that should come with obviously my trials, my tribulations, and then my triumphs, right? Like, or my wins and my losses. Like, everybody loves the underdog and he wins. You understand these storylines, and that is very common in many people's lives, right? And so my point is to suggest that go ahead and curate what all you need to curate, do your thing, but if you do it to the degree for which it is that your message is that I'm always winning, 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 and I never catch an L, then I know you lying to me, right? Because I'm not special. I'm not the only one catching L's out here. I'm not special. And if you are lying to me and lying to other people, like the woman just mentioned a moment ago with the soft life example, like you're doing a disservice to the collective. Like, you're doing a disservice to the entire group of us, whether it be black folks or just whatever. You know what I mean? You're doing a disservice to the collective.
So
Can,
when we get to
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I just feel like we always looking for everybody to be examples. Like, if we're gonna be for real, like, we're adults. If y'all looking for people to be the example you need to know, I don't know if everybody needs to be the example for the community. To me, I agree with the sentiment. I just don't agree with it being a blanketed statement. I don't owe nobody nothing that I haven't signed up for. So if you look to me and say, wow, Jonay is, coming through and doing this or whatever, whatever, that is my business. I believe this strongly, which is why I feel like this is a good conversation to have, because I genuinely feel I do not owe anybody on, let's say specifically Twitter. I don't owe you on this app the vulnerability of talking about my lows. I do not. Because if you're not wise enough to know that as an adult, I'm experiencing lows privately with people that I trust, going into prayer, like, I don't have to say what I'm going through for you to believe that I'm going through it. And then you can't then say, because I only showcase when I'm going through something well, then that means I'm lying to you. No, I'm not. It's just none of your business. We don't have that relationship. And that's the problem. People overshare on this app and then you get caught up. Like Hove said, you say it, you can't take it back. So now now we feel there's responsibility. No, there is not. The responsibility is to be me. And my authentic self is, I know I am a vulnerable person, or I'm a person that I know if you play with me, if I say something out loud and you play on my head, talk about something I went through, my authenticity is I'm going to want to get active. So I'm going to actively not share things that mean something to me with you, because I don't know you and you are not entitled to my lows. I don't mind sharing highs for encouragement, but I for damn sure if you ask me for, if there's like a conversation going, yeah, I can share, hey, I've been through it too. Like, we could say something like that, but for you to just be observant of my profile and my page, and then you go through and you say, damn, Jonay don't never talk about when she going through some shit. I don't owe you that. Never will. And that has nothing to do with my authenticity. You just don't get the entitlement of thinking because you see me, you know me. You don't know me. And I think that gets scary on this motherfucker. Bad. This is a bad habit we have of thinking because you see what people give you and say, now, well, no, you have a responsibility to show me the other side. No, I don't. Who are you?
go ahead, Watcher, and then no Hove.
Yeah, I'll be real quick. And this
And
not.
that's not to you, brother. That's not to you. I'm
Yeah, I'm
just
about to
saying
say the same thing.
generally.
I'm
No,
about
it's
to say
not
the
to you.
same.
That's not
I
to
was about
you.
to say the same exact thing. I don't want you to temperature the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying from a past experience, and I prefaced my position and said I think this really falls more on the shoulders of men than women. I did say that.
Understood, yeah. Hmm.
But let me say it like this. It used to be each one teach one. Y'all remember that?
I
It
do.
used to,
Yeah.
okay. So if it's each one teach one, then you already know the vibes. It used to be,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? You go together, when you leave together, you come back together, regardless of the group. You might not, it might be my sister's friend. I don't even know you like that, but you my sister's friend. We left together, we come back together. It used to be it takes a village to raise a child. You understand the sentiment I'm
I
offering.
do.
If,
Hmm.
if that is the psychology for which it is with amongst us, then you do have a responsibility, each one teach one, to therefore let your mess be your message. We see it all the time with the brothers on the corner, right? When they in their mess, they tell these younger brothers, don't do like I'm doing. You stay in them books, you stay in that school. You know all the things
Yeah.
that brothers say, right?
Hmm.
So my point being is I disagree with you. I do believe, particularly for the leadership, this i.e. men, let your mess be your message, each one teach one.
I
Go
understand
ahead,
that.
no hove.
And this is nothing to contract to what Jonah is. I just want to touch on like what I mean by responsibility is like I come from like a very like family Catholic faith world, so I lean on my faith a lot. And I know it's kind of annoying, like oh my God, who wants to preach the girl post her ass when talk about faith, right? But I do want to
Listen,
say this.
dichotomy, girl. We
I do.
duality up around here. I get it.
I do want to say this is that it's a lot of take, gimme, gimme, gimme. What do I owe you? What do I owe you? And people lose sense of community. So again, like people always want to say like, oh, I miss the old days or like restoring the feeling or like, where's everybody to like lend a hand? Everybody wants, everybody wants to sit there and pray for everything, but nobody wants to give and nobody wants to hand out information. Nobody wants to say, hey, let me lead, let me guide, you know? And I think that's a kind of like a lost thing that we lost somewhere in humanity is like saying like taking responsibility for an action, holding yourself accountable for whatever it is and learning and moving on. And sometimes a lesson is best learned in a crowd. Like, hey, this shit happened to me. You should try to do it the other way. Like the whole like crab in a bucket mentality that we still push forward. I just don't, I think it's very selfish to say like, I don't owe anybody responsibility. I don't owe this, but we want everything. It's always me, take. Who's going to give? Now I got to pray. The only person that can give is God. I feel like we lose ourselves. Like you can make your heaven your reality. It's
Right.
just how how you're viewing and just again taking ownership, taking responsibility, and being truthful to people. You can do what
Yeah.
the fuck you want to do. Just be honest and be truthful.
Right. And I want to say this because I know this, and we're talking about what one another is saying, so I know no one up here is taking it personally. I just think when you get into those conversations, I agree with you. First off, community is everything. First off, we get up here and have conversations often about like black people, our community, just, sharing information, sharing wisdom, sharing knowledge, making sure that to your point, Watcher, like each one teach one, absolutely positively, right? But where that gets gray is people believe now because of the day and age we're in, the each one teach one vulnerability community is your lifestyle. No. Let's just give, for example, Martin Luther King did not owe you relationship advice because he was with Coretta. He owed you what he gave you, which is civil rights, what we are as the collective, his message, what he chose. He chose to keep his personal life personal because that's his business. We are in an era now where, because we are tied to the persona and not the message, to your point, Ho, right? Is no one cares about the message no more. They are invested in the messenger. And that is the problem. Once y'all get off being invested in the messenger and you just hear what I say, then you'll be able to be completely fine with what I don't share. Because you want to be invested in me, not what I say, not what I give, not what I actually, come into community and conversations and talk about. It's like, nah, but I want to see how she living to know if what she's saying, that's not your business. We didn't do that with civil rights leaders and those other people. And this is why after their deaths, we find out all these personal life things about them. And then we try to use that as the character, balancing. So were they really? Yes. MLK was really him for what he was, no matter if he was a cheater or not. He was what he was and he did what he did for our people then, no matter if he was a cheater or was with white women. You get what I'm saying? Now I hope it wasn't, but my point still my point still stands. You don't need to know like this bloodthirst of wanting to suck up everything, pause, out of someone that you deem to be important is why people leave this earth drained. And that is why a lot of times, even in the word, it tells you to knock the dust off your feet before you go to the next town, because some of them people in them places and spaces you'll take whatever you tried to do in that space and how those people were acting to, you'll take it to the next thing. And you have to learn how to disconnect, to my opinion. I'm not negating none of y'all say, cause I completely agree. Community and especially your point, no hope, like the take, that is a huge issue. I do feel like there needs to be more community, generally speaking, but I do think some of that is getting not for us specifically on this stage, but from people that have these conversations otherwise, and they want more than what people are willing to give.
So I want to ask y'all about oversharing, right? And I guess the benefits of it, because when we do have these authenticity conversations, we got to Grandma and No Hove, and I think Watcher kind of spoke to the responsibility of giving both sides of what is going on in your personal life. In my opinion, that is a level of oversharing. Does that make you more trustworthy? Does that make you somebody that you will listen to? It kind of seems like what Jonay said, we want to understand the messenger more, not really so that we can process the message, but we want to be able to see if we can poke holes in who this motherfucker is so that we can disregard the message.
Yep.
So it gets to a level of tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Not because we really rocking with you. We just you're putting on a persona, quote unquote, online, and it may be too good to be true. So let's kind of figure out who this nigga really is behind the scenes, so we can have that gotcha moment of aha, you ain't living your life like that. What do you think about that, No Hove? And then we got Grandma, and then Cortland.
I'm very detailed oriented and I love to share my story because I learned how to be me by other people telling their stories. So again, I feel like when people say like, "Oh, you don't owe this," like I don't owe you all every detail of my life. For the people that forecast it and are like very community driven, I think that's the most important thing you can do is like always tell your story, be very detailed and be very honest. So like I love Huey P. Newton. I only knew by reading his book, like, oh shit, like he used to be a pimp, like he did this in Oakland, he did these little things, and I can relate to that. So sometimes people have to like feel to you or try to, how do I say, for people to relate to you and get your message and like be on one task and want to learn, you have to be vulnerable and you have to be honest and you have to share these mistakes. And in those mistakes, people can be like, "Oh shit, I can relate to that," or my mom had did something like that, or my dad had did something like that, and I can get a one-on-one where I can be comfortable with you because I know you're going to be honest with me and I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to be vulnerable in this conversation. We're going to push forward and learn. So again, I always tell people like, you're no different from somebody different. You're no different from somebody else. It's just they did something a little bit different that you weren't privy to or didn't have the opportunity to do. Nobody's more special than you. So I think things like that remind people like, hey, I don't have to have $1 million to change the world. I can just wake up every day, pick up some trash. I can wake up every day, give a little bit, get a little bit, and move forward from that. I think people think they have to have this astronomical change, this astronomical thing that happens in their life. They have to go to this school, they have to be this person. You can be very complex, you can be very different, and that's what makes people unique and special. So I think when you overshare, not so much oversharing, but like be very detail driven and be very open and be very honest again, and just always give more than you take because that's how you always gain. You stop losing when you cut off. You stop winning when you cut off. So again, I feel like I'm a fan of oversharing. It depends on what we're oversharing. If we're making up realistic shit or we're talking about real life things because life is complex. We're all human. We do fucked up shit, but the best thing is to own it and move forward with it. So again, I'm for oversharing.
Go ahead, Grandma, then Cortland. Go ahead, Cortland.
Sorry, do you see my
Okay,
hand up?
cool. Um,
No, I didn't
Yeah,
see
I'm
it.
indisposed. Go
uh,
ahead.
but I don't think it's oversharing if it has context, like contextual, um, meaning to what you're explaining, right? Like if you're in a financial space and you're saying, I'm a business owner and I made X, Y, and Z, and so you're giving your credentials as to why you're credible, and then like you're explaining what you should do to be successful. This is what you could be doing. These are the steps you should be taking. Don't do these things because I made this mistake and I had to do X, Y, and Z. That's not oversharing. That's credible to that's showing credence to what you're explaining, right? To show both sides and to give valuable information. You don't have to tell nobody, man, I got $5 in my bank account right now, right? Like that's oversharing, right? I didn't have to know that, right? Like I didn't have to know that you broke, right, or whatever. right? You could just tell me that, hey, I fell, I made this mistake and I fell down on some rough times, right? Which is why I'm saying heed this advice. That's not oversharing to me. But I do think in a way, a lot of times on the other side of that, people like to go into these spaces where they feel like they're more important and they want people to swear fealty to them, right, in order to get information, which is also something that I've seen on here, right? Like, oh, don't talk about me, right? Don't try to come at me. Don't try to poke holes in what I'm saying, right? Like, just take what I'm saying to you as the gospel truth. And that's another thing that we have to start picking apart too, because a lot of people want to give advice, right? But they don't want to be bucked. They don't want nobody to come in and be like, hey man, what you saying ain't completely right, right? Like, hey man, like, hey, why don't you speak to the other side of this? They don't want people to poke those holes, right? Because they want to look sterling and shiny and be this beacon of light for people, but they don't want people to start to really look at them as human. They want to be a figurehead, right? They want to be that shining light that unfaltered by anything dark. So like, it's a really weird, slippery slope when we start talking about this conversation because oversharing can be one part of it, right? And like I said, like, I think oversharing is just when you cross a boundary, you give too much information that has no relevance versus versus like somebody, like people who don't want to be picked apart or don't want to be booked when giving information. So there's two sides to this conversation. I feel like that's being touched on loosely, uh, but we're not like really attacking it.
Go ahead, Fresh. I see this guy, Demon, wanting to get up here. Hey man, I don't know if you troll or not. Today's not the day, fam. I'm not gonna hold you. But I appreciate you listening. Go ahead, Fresh.
Uh, as Cortland just said, and everybody's pretty much represented themselves, their points really well. What I'll say to this is I think there is often power because in giving certain information because it gives an anchor point, right? Because as Cortland just said, and I think, Noho, as she, spoke to, um, when you're talking to somebody about, something, or if you're giving advice about something, um, if you can share certain things or share a point where you navigate that situation, it gives an anchor point. Now, within that, like I think always within things, there's always certain caveats and things that you can do. You do not have to give the I think where we go, the oversharing is giving the over intimate details. You can be vague in certain things. You can share, yeah, I've gone through a financial crisis. I've gone through certain things. And like Cortland said, you don't have to share. I went through a point where I was negative $1,000 and I had to do this. And you can say, I've gone through financial crisis where, I didn't know how this was going to happen, and I had to put my head down and do this and this, this and this. And you don't lose power in the message and what you're trying to deliver. And you've also now given an anchor point without oversharing these, intimate details that could be weaponized because your intention with sharing the information is not always what somebody's intention is receiving the information. But that's why I said, even with social media, just like in real life, it's all perception based. You got to gauge based off your perception if this person with goodwill trying to even receive this information. And that happens through, I think that can be perceived through the conversation. Right. Like I said, me and Cortland, or me and Janae, we've had conversations on a myriad of topics to the point where people can say, oh yeah, I don't know this person, but the conviction and the way they speak about certain things, the way they anchor their assertions to certain things, they give certain facts to back up what they're saying. It lets me know, at least in their character traits, that these are people who are not going to typically talk off the cuff. They're not going to talk from their pocket. They're going to actually try to back up what they're saying. They're not just going to offer anything. As to where we know, even people who have come up here in spaces, Rashad, that there are certain people who are going to say anything and they don't project having pushback, right? Like they don't project it. Like they come up here and they're like, oh, this is going to happen, this, and this. And then when they get pushback, they freeze and they're like, oh, well, because they didn't actually, what they were actually saying was for the shock value, but they didn't actually anchor it to anything. So I think there is value in sharing. And I think oversharing is relative to whoever's saying it, but I think you can still share certain things and be an example of certain things without oversharing certain information, specifically to the situation you're on. So this is really a gauge of perception by which who you're sharing it with and things of that nature, because I'll share certain information, with Cortland, and if I'm having a conversation with Jonay as to where a YN, as the kids would say nowadays, were to come up here, I could share certain things with him without giving these over intimate details, just trying to gauge even where his mind's at in the conversation. You know what I mean? So I think that that's the balance.
Go ahead, Grandma.
Yeah. So to Fresh's point, he spoke that so beautifully because as an elder sibling, I don't know how many of y'all got siblings. I'm the fourth oldest of nine. That relatability and the wisdom that comes with that, and the thing about not always having to overshare, it creates such a cool and just real anchor point to be able to like create foundation in people close in proximity to you. Now, for me, with the oversharing online, I believe, and this is just a me thing, and feel free to disagree with it. I believe that most people that overshare have sometimes a very subtle, manipulative, and malicious agenda with that. Because just because you may overshare doesn't inherently make it good or bad, but most times people use it for content and contextual purposes to keep and entertain for a lot of negative and bogus reasons. A lot of people are very fugazi when they overshare. A lot of people can create any type of narrative, agenda, and or visualize or idealize perception for you to follow and grab onto when they overshare. So a lot of times pulling back, giving just enough of yourself, especially when it's intentional, because when you speak to that intention of what someone's doing with that information and how they're putting it out, you can use proper discernment if you have the tools and guidance to know what that is to really see if it's beneficial to you. Because it's just like having food. Someone gives you a lot of food don't mean that it's helpful to you. You can overeat. You can overdrink. Too much air can literally be bad for you. So for me, oversharing isn't always, this good and positive thing. A lot of times people do overshare in the most negative of ways. Again, we see it with
Yeah,
shows. Yeah.
that was something I wanted to ask as far as what do people feel like oversharing means. I think that my definition, there's two things that come to my mind. I don't know if y'all seen the Logic interview
Mm.
with his dad.
I saw some of it.
It was crazy. And then Milfy, her reunion with her father, right? I seen that Flip put a video out of that.
Hmm.
Um in my opinion, oversharing is highlighting negative with no solution,
Yeah.
right? I think if you are we a lot of people do content, obviously I do. I
Yeah.
think that there is a fine line that you have to walk when it comes to content. In my opinion, everybody don't have to go off my opinion.
Yeah.
But when I think about those two spaces in where they're speaking to their parents, they're speaking about trauma, they're speaking about things that have happened in their life, fractured relationships, addiction, shit like that.
Right.
Those conversations are definitely needed to be had,
Yeah.
especially,
Yeah.
from child to parent. Where it gets to a little gray area for me is when there's no follow up, there's no intention for solution
Right.
after this content.
Yeah.
After we make this motherfucking video and we get the views and we get the likes and there's nothing else, then it's like, what the fuck was this
That
for?
your context is the content. And yes, as you said, it's just a thing put out to be absorbed and there's no real resolution to it and you feel left empty. It's almost like putting out a thought and open. You know what? Better yet, it's like a tweet. It's like a tweet with views but no real comments. It's just there to just be there, and that's the issue that I find personally with people that overshare or when they say content is king. All content isn't good content, just like all publicity isn't good publicity. To me, those mirror each other in a very dangerous fashion, and because of the day and age in which we live, people take to those things and they use it to boost themselves up, whether it's good or not. Like again, to me, Krishan Rock is is a great example of that, of your context being the content, but it not serving you in the way that it needs to, and you wind up more damaged than you did before.
So let me ask the folks up here, when it comes to content, and we having the conversation about oversharing, do you think that there is a line, that a content creator has to walk, or do you think it is, COE content over everything? Um, go ahead, Corlin.
Nah, not really, because like I feel like the as somebody who's in media, right? The good part about media is there's a niche area for everything, right? You got trauma media, you got trauma podcasts. They only talk about trauma. They don't talk about the solutions. They don't say go get seek therapy. They just talk about the trauma. That's it, right? You've got drama, right? You got like we know spaces that only thing they do is gossip in those spaces. They don't try to rectify it. They don't try to mediate. They don't try to resolve it. It's just about gossiping and drama and keeping it up, right? Like, so everything, like, I don't think there's a fine line. Now, that's where I feel like the conversation that we were having before, Rashad, where we were talking about morals and consequences, right? Like, is Twitter a real place? You walk that fine line because you have a moral character fiber that tells you, like, hey, man, I'm a I'm gonna keep it on this side, right? Unless I gotta go over there, right? If I gotta go over there, I know how to bring it back. You know what I mean? Like, but that ain't everybody, right? There's people in your space. There's people in your sector, right? That I'm pretty sure don't walk that fine line and they don't care. They're okay with the consequences that come with that or the reputation that comes with that. However, you feel differently. And that makes you tailor and curate your content to the way that you do it. So, but I don't think that there's like some imaginary line that you have to talk. That line is based upon your character, your morals, and the type of reputation that you want to have. Some people don't have that, right? Some people don't care. And then you got the others that do. So I think that's what dictates it.
Yeah, and I would like to talk if anybody makes content and feels that I don't want to necessarily say pressure, but walking that line of putting out content and having a idea of what will hit and what won't hit, trying to get the clicks, trying to get the likes, the views, and then also what is your morality? I think especially early on, those things come into play and might be on opposite sides, especially when you're trying to build something off the ground. Because there is a level of shock value, a level of negativity or dissension, in the views and the things that come up with that. I think, when folks in here yelling and cussing folks out and going crazy, it's a lot of people in this motherfucker, right? And then when we have more cool, calm, and collective conversations, there's still a crowd, but it's not the same crowd, right? And so, even with this, trying to curate conversations and where there is information given, there are thought provoking submissions. There are people that's level headed and not acting crazy. And I enjoy these type of conversations, but then, and I know Doko didn't mean no harm, but he did say, hey, somebody just need to say something wild, right? We need, we need some, a different feel or a switch up, right? And so to me, that is something that, I think about in battle every day. And I just want to know if other people feel that way in making content as far as just like walking that line. Go ahead, Fresh.
So I know most people have probably seen the movie Gladiator, the original Gladiator back in the day. And one of the main sayings was that from that was Rome is the mob, right? So Rome wasn't the niceties. Rome wasn't, like their parliamentary style or their government, right? They're like, Rome is the mob. That's why, whoever, the leaders were, they would do the yay or the nay, like to kill them or not. And the people would decide that, or why there was a crowd there anyway, right? Watching people literally getting slaughtered or doing things of that nature rather than watching somebody in parliament speak or somebody in government speak and be educated. More people want to be entertained. Thus why even in music, there's more of a market for degeneracy and foolishness than there is for somebody speaking on consciousness, right? Like Cortland and I have had spaces where we're talking about sports, where we're talking about, just, topics about, building wealth and things of that nature. And it'll be 10 people in there. and it'll be far more engaging of a conversation. But then if we get to talking about, we put something in the title line that's crazy, right? That's meant to be provoking and to get people in there, right? To get the people going. Then they come in there like, oh, y'all talking about this? We thought y'all was in here being foolish, right? Or even people come on stage and they'll be like, all right, y'all, this is a good conversation, but man, I'm gonna say something crazy just to rile it up. And I think that that's like a human thing, like of the balance. Like somebody, you get to a point where you're learning, like even kids have brain breaks, right? To where, you know, they have a bunch of structure and then they feel the need to act out. And I feel that some people haven't, you know, they've grown to adults and they haven't, I guess, curtailed that, where it's like always this need for things to not be structured or not to be this, not to be that. And they act out and they'll, you know, do certain things. And then you see that play out, thus proving more how like Twitter is a real place. And it just is a microcosm because we see that in real life and you see that on here. Rashad, when you, like you said, when you have these spaces, people are like, this is a good conversation, but my God, y'all are talking. But then if we was in here yelling at each other, like earlier, right? If I would have called the young lady a bitch out of her mind and came out of character and did all this stuff like that, it would have been packed in here. Matter of fact, people probably came in here because they saw that and they were like, oh, Fresh is coming out of character. Oh, he's doing this. Let's come in here. You know what I mean? Like, rather than us having a conversation, they're like, I don't care.
Yeah, I see that all the time. It is very interesting, but it's, you know, it comes with the territory. Go ahead, no hope, and then we got your name.
I think the beauty in conversation is just to be very complex. And again, it's entertainment, so you have to find some entertainment values. But like, if I used to come on these spaces and have like great conversation, then I would pick out certain things where things felt weird to me, and I can find holes and slots and disrupt things in people's conversation where I say like, oh, this doesn't really sound right, or that I can't believe that, so I know that's some bullshit, you know, just having fun. And then there's times I've been on a space where I'm just yelling through my phone and it didn't feel good to me. So I think like the beauty is to try a whole bunch of shit, see what works, and just perfect your lane and find something unique to you. Don't try to do what somebody else is doing. Don't try to do what they're doing. Just have fun with it and just have a unique thing. It's like how people say like, oh, the clips rap like they're somewhere hiding in a room in your house, or like Nicki Minaj has a whole range of different characteristics and ways she raps that makes it fun and entertaining to her. So again, just finding your unique things, and you're gonna have to try a bunch of shit and fail at some shit. But again, that's the fun part, because if you're not failing, you're not winning. So again, it's really how you come across. Some people can just be online and just bullshit all day and it works for them, and that's a great thing for them. But you gotta, at the end of the day, whatever makes you feel good, because that's all that matters, is how you go to sleep. You know, so again, there's so many different ranges of entertainment. You just gotta what works for you. But I do understand, like sometimes I see people be super wordy. It's like, bro, you could have said that in 5 words, but you want to perceive the image that you're these super complex thoughts, you're super smart. And I do it sometimes too. But again, whatever works for you, whatever fits you, and just to have a unique feel of it, you have to try everything.
I appreciate that. Go ahead, your name.
Yeah. Um, I have a couple of things to say. Um, I think it's a Fendi fact that people love degeneracy. Number one. And people gotta just be honest about it. They rather see car crashes. They rather, you know, see beef. They rather see death. They rather see a whole bunch of black people up here yelling, talking ghetto shit than talking about things like this. It just is what it is. Um, what I do think though is there a lot of times in conversations, a lot of projection is everybody, and this is again where we get into what we've been talking about all day. Everybody is not here for your entertainment. You're just entertained by what we're all here for, right? Some people say, I'm here for the entertainment, which is why I'll put on and I'll troll and I'll do this because this is entertaining to me. Some people, maybe like more of a fresh, is like, well, I'm not here to be your entertainment. I'm just a conversationalist that likes to have different types of conversations. So if those are entertaining to you, I'm not trying to entertain. So then to the example of, oh, he wordy and he this and he that. Now, some people do try to lead with those things to be this proclaimed intellectual. But what if you run into someone like a Fresh who does that and he'll do these long rants with Nas? Like you gotta learn that's just him. And because people are, back to what we said earlier, intimidated by someone that is well versed, that can articulate, that can jump in and out of whether it's black consciousness back to music, back to something else, social media, and still have this same type of POV. If they rant and they go into their bag and they get on their soapbox, you kind of just gotta, we know how to cut it off. We know what it is, but we don't necessarily need to think that there is performance in that, or you're just trying to prove something. Cause I'm gonna be 100%. I ain't tried to prove shit to none of y'all since I got on this bitch. I'm not even gonna hold you. I've never been in a proving business. No, never.
Nah, that
But people
conversation we
think
had about music, well, yeah, I don't know. Nah, just playing. Just playing.
I wasn't proving shit, friend. That's why we was disagreeing.
I don't know about that
But
type of
it's
stuff.
like, I mean, cause there's a lot, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and that could be for good and bad. You know what I mean? I'm not proving or trying to prove anything. And I think there's a lot of us, even if there's been people that haven't disagreed, a lot of people, I'm not the only one. I think there's a lot of people in here that ain't trying to prove shit. They're just who they are. Um, and I think when it comes to content, I feel like there was a huge issue I had with someone told us early on in spaces, you are the content. And that is something you got to accept, because a lot of people say, hey, Jonay, you're the type of person that's opinionated. So I'm going to make you the content, whether that means come up, be antagonistic, whether that means poke at you, whether that means knowing that you like to go back and forth and I'm going to always be ready to go back and forth with you, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. Even for me, it's like I'm a conversationalist. I might like to go back and forth, but to what No Hove said, I think that was a really important point. But when you experience different levels of conversation, there's going to be some that you say, all right, I don't like how I feel after this type. I don't like, it was cool in the moment, but I don't like yelling into my phone and how that makes me feel, how that makes me look. I don't want to feel like that, feeling drained after a conversation. So then you get to pick and choose. And let's just say, for example, if NoHo picks says, she's known, let's say she was known for reading and getting in a space and going at people. If she chooses tomorrow to say, I'm off that, she's off that. That don't mean that she's now an inauthentic person and she's not here for the content. It's like, no, she's just picking and choosing how she wants to show up on her platform. And if she decides to say, I would much rather be in these types of conversations, then let her. If Rashad wanted to pivot off of waking it up and he wants to get into this, then you gotta either get with it or whatever. Like you have to leave room for people to be who they are, because no one is one dimensional.
Definitely sticking with the waking it up. Big V, what's the word? How
Cause you a
you?
messy. You a messy.
Yeah,
What's up, fam? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. Just making sure can everybody hear me because everybody really made some great valid points, and to say that everything ain't for content because again, people are going through it the way this economy is, how people are just getting laid off. I mean, it touches myself, but I don't want to put that all out in the air because that's not for everybody to know. I'm keeping my head up high and everything, and making sure stuff, is going cool. And another thing I wanted to point out now, it's just now with like everybody that is making content when it comes to like certain types of dramas and traumas, you don't know what's real or what's fake because a lot of majority of the stuff now tends to be skits. And it's like, yo, why y'all doing that? Because here it is, you got people that's tuning into this type of stuff, and now you just look at it how the person might be holding the cameras and everything and such and stuff, and they kind of be low key laughing at it. It's like, oh man, this is a skit. It's not even that serious.
Yeah, I've
Compared
even seen
to,
like fake police stops now
yeah,
that's coming
yeah,
out, and I'm like, why the fuck would like
yeah.
somebody do this?
Yeah, and it's crazy. So it's kind of all cry wolf. And then if we happen to see something that's real, we gonna scroll right past it. We gonna be like, yo, that's fake. Even though it was something that really happened, and it's mind boggling to me. So like I said, everything ain't for everybody to see. If you're going through it, go through it on your own. You don't need to let everybody know. Like that's just my opinion on that. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I think, right now, a lot of these things are new as far as just like monetization, people realizing that you can definitely make a career out of this. People are blowing up and making a lot of bread, and people are seeing how they could do that. And so we are kind of like in its infant stages, and where we're trying to weed out what's real, what's fake, what's beneficial, what's not. It's kind of like the Wild Wild West. The internet, when it comes to content creation, especially now, just seems like the Wild Wild West to me. And so we are going to have the hiccups and bumping your head and trying to figure out what's what. I think eventually there will be, a balancing out. YouTube is making, I really like what YouTube is doing as far as, the AI videos and cracking down on that, tweaking their programs. But yeah, I do think that with this content creation shit, man, it is definitely a fine line. But we all like a car crash, like Johnny said. We all like fuck shit. We all like, you know, drama from time to time, and what's going on with who. I do think that here, in the space and the platform that I have, I do want to have a little bit more balance. Have folks up here that, speak about some good shit, and then we gonna get to the bullshit too. Never gonna stop waking it up, like I said. But there is a balance, and then there's a value in that as well. I think that um I would hope, especially at the ages that we are at, and where people could see value in duality, and not, be one track mind as far as the content that they consume over here, especially, because this ain't that. It ain't gonna be bullshit every single day, um, or nothing burgers. One time for Levita. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of duality. That's what I'm focusing on. And getting this shit together. I appreciate y'all, engaging in the conversation, man. Definitely engaging in the conversation. We went from FBA space on Sunday to US versus UK yesterday, and now we talking about goddamn oversharing on the internet, man. Listen, I
This is what people
appreciate that
want,
shit.
Rashad. This is what
Huh?
people want. I said this is what the people. This is what people want, Rashad, and whether they admit it or not, because, like you said, not only the duality and the just the versatility of all of it, because you do cover all topics, right? You'll go to the timeline, you'll talk about what's budding on the timeline, then you'll talk about we'll talk about this, then we'll have a space for it to be more humorous or people to kind of get it off, and I think that gives full scope, well-rounded conversation and experience, which is cool. Like you said, you talk about music. You'll touch on politics. You'll talk about all types of things. It's not just the same run-of-the-mill relationship talk, men versus women. It's not just the same run-of-the-mill only talking about what's going on, in the entertainment business from a flat perspective. Like it's a full spectrum conversation and experience, and that's what people want. You do get people that come up on the stage from all walks, all different perspectives. Like I've never encountered NoHo, but I agree with a lot of her points today. I've never encountered, uh,
Yeah, no hope. She calm today.
right. But I'm saying I never encountered certain other people, but then you see like, oh, we have, it's kind of the same perspective on certain things, even no matter how it presents, because you did curate. That's why I say all this is relevant to what you've been asking, because you did curate this space, right? Which was selecting certain things about this space to curate a conversation for things to happen, thus proving full scope, right? We've come full circle. The internet is very real. It's very real.
Internet is very real. Listen, I hope that that's what y'all take. Hey, yesterday I asked y'all to send some titles, and it worked out very very good. Lone Wolf sent the title for yesterday's space. Who do you stand with? If y'all had any type of ideas for the title today, man, DM me, or hit me on the timeline. Definitely would love to hear that. I want to involve folks who always come and listen. I definitely appreciate the growth in the community, the growth in support. Repost the space, repost the space, repost the space. Follow the host, follow the folks up here that said some good shit to you, man. The Patreon is in the jumbo. There is a free tier. There is a $5 tier. Whichever tier that you decide to subscribe, I definitely would appreciate it. We had an overtime episode yesterday. Going to do some overtime shit when it hits the timeline, when necessary. Yesterday it was pretty cool, man. So that is definitely on the Patreon as well. I appreciate y'all for real. We're here every day, Sunday through Friday, 12 p.m. until the next conversation. We out.